Hey guys, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Flesh and Blood stream. Tonight I'm going to be playing some Bravo. I've been playing Fi a little bit recently, trying to test and prepare for ProQuest season. The two decks that are really standing out to me right now as decks that I really enjoy to play and that I'm probably considering playing for ProQuest season are Fi and Bravo. Excuse me, just had some dinner, so... but Bravo looks to be like a standout choice for me. I've just learned I'm a big fan of the Guardian style gameplay and the value block, take your turns when they come, slower style of tempo play, as to where Lexi is more of a fast paced style tempo game. So, excuse me again. Hi, what's up, Ben? That's right. It's all wall, baby. It's all wall. So I'm just I'm looking forward to playing a little bit of Bravo tonight and just really making sure that I feel comfortable with the list. One of the things that I am worried about going into ProQuest season is that Fuseless Lexi will take a step down and people will try to play maybe a heavier version of Ice Lexi to try and disrupt other aggro decks like Fi, Katsu, other Lexis and Azaleas that are popular in the metagame right now. So in hopes of combating that, I'm looking at playing Bravo. I was originally playing Red Unmovables in my list, but now I have swapped to Red Staunch Response because it costs one less resource, so you can play around a Frostbite. It's just something I'm testing out. I don't really know if it'll be super important. The one downfall is that you can't turn on Hammer to Hammer for 6 to Anothos for 6, but we're not playing that card in that matchup anyway. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into some games here. How are you? I'm good, man. How are you, brother? You doing all right tonight, Ben? Hey, I know you said something last night, but man, good games this week, dude. I was I was pretty shocked that I won, if you want the truth. Especially the way Josh Allen played last night. I was not expecting to win, but it was a nice surprise. All right. Well, we're gonna pretty much ignore all these matchups over here because I haven't taken the time to change anything as of yet. So I think we're just gonna throw in Staunch Responses and just leave everything in. Maybe we want Remembrance in the Mirror. I don't know. Gonna be honest, I'm not entirely sure. I don't think we maybe we want Fates and Sinks and stuff like that. I don't know, to help cover up crush effects and not have to use maybe we just want to play 69 cards in this matchup. I don't know. Feels kind of loose to just be playing that many cards, but maybe that's just the we just play the slower tempo style of game plan and we're playing all these defense reactions. I don't know. We'll try it and see what happens. I haven't really played the Bravo Mirror too much, so I'm not entirely sure what that looks like, if I'm just being entirely honest. So I don't know. We'll kind of see. Take the hits as they come. I'm just going to activate Bravo to get this out of my hand. I'd rather just cycle some cards here. They're actually on one more card than me. Interesting. That is super interesting. I've played 72 hours of Starfield in one day. Dude, that's impressive. You're just... I broke time playing the game. Well, I mean, hey, man. You're in space. You can do whatever you want. The world is your oyster, as they say. Yeah, GG's. Diggs is probably one of the best guys to have down tier last year. Yeah, dude. Diggs is just, Diggs is just so good. He's such a great player. I guess let's give a card here, and then we'll sink below. I guess I'm not going to put anything on the bottom. We'll just throw Chokeslam for 8 here. Try to set up a little bit. We'll throw Chokeslam for 8 here, and then we'll use... we'll Arsenal to sink below. Not that Chokeslam's really going to have any effect or anything. We just want to start using... we'll start cleaning it up. We'll just try to, use our cards effectively here to draw cards out and push some damage through as much as we can here. Getting 2 defense reactions out early is pretty good for us, although they're probably about to do the same thing. Hopefully Allen cleans it up. I love that guy. Dude, Josh Allen is great. Josh Allen, he seems like a not only, good person on the field, but off the field as well. Again, I don't know anything about him. I could be terribly wrong, but he does seem cool. So this is going to be for 4, I think. Okay, so now they're just going to throw this at us, so We're just gonna get both the choke slams here. Do people playing Bravo congratulate each other by saying Bravo at the end of a match? I have never heard that done, but I'm not gonna lie. I think you've just given me a new idea. I think you've given me a fun way to communicate with my opponents that just say Bravo at the end of a game. I'm definitely going to be doing that if I play Bravo during ProQuest season. Plus people will think that's fun. That'll be fun to do. This is not the hand we were looking for. I'm just going to block Showtime and then give Sink Below here. Put the pummel on the bottom. We'll set up a second cycle pummel here. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and do that. It's actually not a bad turn to just go ahead and throw our Crippling Crush. Let our Seismic Surge go off, and then we'll just throw the Crippling here. It's a value play, so... Hey, Vajith, what's going on, buddy? How are you? You doing all right today, buddy? Their hand must be pretty good. I mean, they're giving me two pivotal pieces of equipment pretty early here. Like, if they're gonna, like... This must be like a Sink Below or a Fate Foreseen, and they want to keep their hand. It's an unmovable. Okay, so take 2, go to 38. And then I... Interesting. So if I block with Spinal Crush and take 3, I can go Zealous Belting and the Hammer here. Like we can block and take 3 here. Good, you? I'm doing well, man. Appreciate you asking. I appreciate you asking. Worked a little bit today, and I'm excited to play cards and continue to test for ProQuest season. It's, you know, I think I talked about this last stream. You know, I'm used to having a little bit of a break in between, like in between nationals and like, you know, ProQuest season normally starts at the beginning of the year. So I feel like I kind of have to like keep on myself and continue to test and like, you know, push myself to make sure that I'm making good and clean plays and good deck building decisions moving into ProQuest season, which is only like a month away. Like it's like a month and a half away when ProQuest season starts. So want to make sure that I'm staying in my groove. I mean, I can just give 3 cards here, block 9 Arsenal Sink Below, so that I can set up to block a little bit more efficiently here in case they do have a big turn where they try to dominate. Or the other option is to block Starstruck and Debilitate, and then Sink Below. Keep our blue. So we take 1, go to 35, swing Hammer for 4. Giving 3 cards out of my deck is not exactly where I want to be, and I don't really want to use my Sink Belows inefficiently. I think Starstruck is like not super great in this matchup, so I think we can just take 2 and just set up an Arsenal here. If their next turn is just Hammer, then we can just kind of... Yeah, if their next turn is just Hammer, then we can just block 2 cards here. This is not a good hand to have together here. I want to play the Staunch Response, but I think we're also looking at playing the Sink Below, putting the Zealous Belting on the bottom to try and have like a good second cycle hand here so we could take 3. I can't join in the Pro Tour. That's the sad part, but I am playing Dash, so no, that's good. Dude, I love Dash. I absolutely love playing Dash, man. Dash is a lot of fun, and she's a real cool hero to play. I was like, I've played a lot of Dash over like my year and a half playing Flesh and Blood. It sucks you like can't go to the Pro Tour though, man. I hate to hear that. I hate to hear that, buddy. And then pitch your last card to hammer me. I mean, I guess this is Staunch Response here to cover it up. Like, I guess I could have pitched my unmovable for Song's Response just a minute ago. Like, the way to win this matchup is definitely not by, like, it's definitely not just, like taking damage to try and throw big things back. Like, the Bravo mirror is a lot of, like, back and forth, and a lot of, like, you know, knowing, like, you have to, like, use your equipment and things, like, very, very consciously, and, like, be very careful of when you decide to, like, swing turns. Like, I want to make sure that I'm keeping my Go Again cards, and I'm keeping my Crippling Crushes, and, like, a lot of my, like, bigger on-hit effects in my deck for second cycle. Second cycle is a very important part of this strategy. Now, my opponent's off to a better start than I am for second cycle, admittedly. Just based off of, like, how, like, yeah, like, throwing that Spinal Crush for 3 is really good. So we just put a Crippling Crush on the bottom. So if we block Warmonger's Diplomacy, play Fate Foreseen, we can make a Surge and then throw Hammer. We'll put this on the bottom. There should be a blue on top of it and a blue. So we went blue. Like, I think it was like, I can't remember what it was exactly. We went blue something. It was blue into Crippling Crush is what we pitched, and then we just put a blue on the bottom. So now we're looking at a hand where when we see our last Crippling Crush that comes back around, we'll actually be able to throw a Crippling Crush with a pummel on the following turn. Or if we still have our Crown, not likely that late in the game, we can Crown, and we know that our next card will be into our pummel. I am going to put the pummel, so no, I need to go Cranial Crush, then the pummel. Yeah, Cranial Crush, then pummel is definitely how I need to do it. Drawing a lot of reds early here. I'm going to Fate Foreseen the Zealous Belting here. And then if my opponent comes in with Hammer, yeah, we'll put that on the bottom. If my opponent comes in with a Hammer, which is the most likely play that they'll make here, we'll give Spinal Crush and disable Arsenal to Zealous Belting. We're not playing much offense right now. We have to try and find a turn where we can, like, really flip and start to try and play a little bit of offense here. With them having a card in Arsenal, there's not a super high chance of us getting a turn like that soon. We're gonna have to wait and play patiently and, like, make sure that we really look for our opening here. What are these hands? These hands are abysmal. Like, there's 39 blues in our deck. Stuff like this isn't supposed to happen. This is why I like to play 39 blues. This is 100% a pummel. I think we want... Man, I don't know. Spinal Crush is, like, a good card, like, and it's easy to throw off of, like, a 2-card hand and dominate late game. Like, when we're forced to, like, be blocking and do things. So maybe we're supposed to go here. We'll put our Zealous Belting on the bottom of the deck. Because if my opponent has Pummel here, we're still forced to discard a card. So the funny part is, if I'd given Spinal Crush, we would have played around the blue Pummel. We can discard Macho Grande. Or maybe it's better to keep blues in my deck. Like, maybe we're just supposed to discard our Spinal Crush. I know that right now they're winning the life total race and they're winning... they're winning the life total race and they're winning the card advantage race right now. Like, we're getting ready to go up to 46 cards and then down to 42. And going into their turn cycle, they're up 6 cards already in their deck, which is not a good sign for us. I was like, I would be surprised if they were taking 6 here. Their hand must be like pummel a Crippling Crush, if that's their plan. That's the only thing I can think of. Again, like, there's no consistency in our draws right now. Like, I think we're just going to pitch our cards and just cover up 10 here. Arsenal the pummel, and we'll try to set up a turn when we can pummel something. Right? Because, yeah, we need 6. And we're going to go Thunderquake, Starstruck, then the Crippling Crush. So we're going to go to 24 here, which is not great. And then I'm going to Arsenal my pummel. Helps us out if we happen to draw into a Command and Conquer, which we did. So hopefully their turn is kind of lackluster here. If they have like a kind of mid-turn, we can throw Command and Conquer pummel at them, which would be kind of nice, considering they're pitching a Fate Foreseen. I mean, Command and Conquer pummel's not going to be the best thing that ever happened because they have the... Because they have Crown of Providence, but this is a good way to get it out of the way. I'm going to take 5 here and go to 19 because I can Fate Foreseen the hammer regardless, and damage is damage here. I like that this guy's name is It's the Taxman. What an interesting name. Let's leave that on top. We'll try to finesse that into our arsenal or figure something out there. So, I mean, this screams pummel. Like, this is a pretty easy sniff out for our opponent here, that we have the pummel. But I still think it's worth playing it. We get to push through 8 damage. The life total race is we're only losing by 4 points. And our opponent's crown is now gone. And they also still only have 4 cards in their hand, as opposed to the 5-card hand that we were looking at. So, and now we have more equipment than they did, which is kind of nice. So this is definitely a pummel. So if we block Buckling Blow, Chokeslam, and then they have the pummel, we can just unmovable here. So I'm just going to take 3. And if they let this, if they don't play it. So we'll end up taking 2 here. We'll have nothing to discard, and we'll go to 15. Playing around the pummel was a good decision right there. Our opponent's forced to take that there. Like, I don't think there's ever a world where they're not going to take that. I can pitch 6 and take 1, go to 14 here off my red Staunch Response, and then Arsenal my Command and Conquer, which is kind of nice. I hate being down 7 points, but I think we're just sitting here trying to work towards a flip turn. I mean, this is a great hand. Their hand is also great, though. Like, like them having Rouse the Ancients, like, that's the benefit of them having tempo, is that if we both have Rouse the Ancients turns, and theirs is just better than mine, then, I mean, it is what it is. Like, we're forced to just block 5 here and go to 12. Like, we have to have a turn where, like, all they do is throw hammer or throw something at us so that we can try to, like, kick back in some way. That's what we're waiting on. Until then, we're just going to be blocking. This is a beneficial turn cycle where they take all the cards out of our hand, but we actually end up gaining a life and going to 13 here. They have 1, 2, 3. So, I mean, technically, if they didn't have a defense reaction, Terra Sunder would be good enough to get 2 cards out of their hand here, but I don't think that's worth. If I block 2 and then put this there, I take 3, and then I'm really only taking 2 and going to 10, and then I can swing hammer. Or I can block 5, go to 13, and then play the unmovable. I also had the option there, if I wanted to, I could have blocked with Terrace Under, taken 1, went to 11 and thrown the Command and Conquer, try to like take some tempo back. I think finding a way to gain any life edge that I can in this matchup is going to be beneficial for us right now. Let's just block 6 here. I was like, they're playing red and yellow pummels, so they could have pummel here. Like, and I mean, like, there's like really nothing that I can do about it, to be honest. Like, I can't sit around playing around this the rest of the game. Our opponent has worked the game into a situation where they've just had the tempo, and it's just been unfortunate. Like, their good turns just came before ours, and so now we've just fallen behind, and we're just trying to play catch up. Like, they've had a pummel, a go again effect on, like, I think every turn for the last 4 turns. Or something. Like, they've had a Starstruck, like, their turn was Crippling Crush, Starstruck, it was Spinal Crush Pummel, then it was Crippling Crush, then Starstruck, then they just played, then they had Rouse go again, and then they just had the pummel. So... So if I block 3, I'm taking 3, which means if they have the pummel, I'd be dead here. Clearly, he is outskilling you. I mean, hey, it's very possible. I can't tell if you're trolling or being serious, but if you are being serious, I'm not going to say you're wrong, but I would like to know why you think that. Because sometimes it is like, as a card player, it's very easy to get sucked into the concept of, oh, I got cheesed, when that's not always true. So, Ludiful, if you do think that, I would like to know why. Wow, another pummel. Man, a lot of good draws from our opponent here. They don't even have anything for us to like they've had, like, every turn we've wanted to play Command and Conquer pummel, they've had something to play around it with every single time. This is crazy. Oops, you dropped your what? /S. I must be missing something. So, I mean, we're just going to throw Command and Conquer Pummel here because we want to take a card out of their hand, and they're not incentivized to block this. Let's put them to 10 and take a card out of their hand. So, Showtime, Crater Fist, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I give all of my equipment but 1 piece on the Crater Fist, I'm able to have an 11-point turn here, which is like not like, not backbreaking or anything, but it's pretty good. I think it's like, this is probably one of our last turns we're going to get to like really try and like flip the game here. So let's throw it all and go to 1 and hope that we can try to swing the game around here. I mean, he's played, let's see, how many, like, there's 1 pummel, 2 pummels, 3 pummels. So he's played 4 pummels, 1 blue and 3 yellows. So, 3 reds. So I assume our opponent's on 6 here. LOL-S is normally for shorthand for sarcasm. Oh, gotcha. Not sure how many cards he's running, but it's turn 18, so he could have stacked some of those turns. Yeah, he definitely could have pitch stacked some of those turns. I think we've definitely hit second cycle at this point in the game. So it's very possible that he did just pitch stack some of the turns that he's seeing now. Unfortunately, if he has something big, he can dominate here, and we don't draw a... I don't even know if there's defense reactions left in our deck. Now, we've seen them all. So, yeah, there's 0 defense reactions left for us to see. So, yeah, he's going to dominate something and just kill us here. Again, like... Victory, Screech! Hey, Nolan Gaming, thanks for the follow on Kick. I appreciate it, brother. Appreciate the follow, man. So let's go for 7 here. Give our last piece of equipment, and then even if this is hammered, we're dead. Yo, make it happen, 83. Thanks for the follow on Kick. I appreciate it. Yo, Shark, what's going on? Thanks for the lurk, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, so yeah, we're just dead here. We're forced to take 3 because we don't have 2 cards here. That is unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the game, those were definitely turns that my opponent pitch stacked, but I feel like my opponent had very, very good hands to start the game, and was able to like get tempo very early on, where like my hands were never like very. They were like, I had super awkward hands. Like I would have like 3 reds. I had 3 reds in one hand. I had 2 reds and a Starstruck in one hand. Like I just felt like I was drawing like pretty awkward. And you can only take so many awkward draws before it just starts costing you a game. I'm a bot advertising. I'm a bot advertising Twitch live views as well as cheap Kick followers. Yeah, definitely not paying for viewers or followers there, bud. But appreciate you stopping by the stream nonetheless. His turns like 11 through 14 were pretty lucky. I mean, yeah, like my opponent definitely like I don't think my opponent like high rolled me or anything. They just like they had good draws. And I just, you know, I didn't really like he had good turns and I just didn't, unfortunately. So I mean, it's part of it sometimes. I am playing a card game at the end of the day, so I have to get a little bit lucky to run hot. Plus, I have to admit, I'm not like super versed in the Bravo mirror. Now like this is a matchup I played quite a bit of. Like I feel like you've either played the Guardian, like you either come prepared for the Guardian mirror or you don't really. And like honestly, like I just don't super. I've never like. There's not a lot of Guardian players in our area, and so I've never like super heavy teched for the Guardian mirror. I've always prepared to like try and beat Lexi's and things like that. So try to beat Lexi, try to beat Azalea, like Fi, other like aggro decks. So I've been to a couple, like I went to a couple of RTNs where like some people were just like super heavy teched for people were just like crazy teched for like the Oldham mirror when Oldham was like super popular, and I remember that was always like super interesting. To play against like to play against that, like people like I played against a guy who was running like blue, red, and yellow staunches in his deck, which I know Michael Fang did at the Pro Tour, so it wasn't like crazy to think that they were doing that. It was just like it was something that I definitely wasn't prepared for, so I was very intrigued to actually play against somebody who was doing that. So this is for 5 dominate. So I could give Warmonger's Diplomacy here and Stillbraid Buckler to play around this. I think I hate giving equipment on turn 0. But I think it's fine because we're like stopping a pretty relevant like fatigue shot's like one of their better arrows. So with Oldham meta, you had to be able to win the mirror or you could never win an event. Yeah, no, that's actually like a very, very accurate statement. Like winning the mirror was like the one thing that I should have teched more. I always came teched like I played the Matt Rogers list, or a list very, very similar to his list, where I was on like the hard like fatigue Lexi plan, and like that strategy didn't do super well into the Oldham mirror, unfortunately. And so it kind of like put me in some awkward spots sometimes. Love to see a release the tension. Get that out of here. Get that release the tension out of here. Well, Arsenal is Staunch Response. Staunch Response is just really gonna like really just gonna like buy us a free turn where like we don't want to block, but we need to. So I mean, Spire Sniping's a 1 for 3. So if they decide to go, like if they just throw the 1 for 3 at me here, like I'm just gonna give them a buckling blow, and then like, is that really all this is? It's just like, okay, I mean that's fine. Like, it is what it is. I'm gonna pitch Pummel to make a surge. And then I'm actually just going to throw the buckling blow here. We'll set up Pummel and a blue unmovable for second cycle. I talked at the beginning of like my intro to my stream that I was playing red Staunch Response over red unmovable because I wanted to test more into Ice Lexi, and like was trying to like prepare a little bit for like what Ice Lexi might look like if people decide to go that route to beat up on other aggro decks. And so I'm playing Staunch Response, but I'm still playing blue unmovable, and I don't know if that's correct or not. Man, I hate to say this, but like, I don't really like this. Feels like their turn is just over after this. So if I give Crippling Crush here, I hate to block with a Crippling Crush, but I mean, playing against this style of deck is definitely about fatiguing them in some capacity here. Considering they have the Tunic, they're going to activate Death Dealer, so I might not be. So they have a Red in the Ledger in their hand. They're going to Arsenal. So this is going to be for 7. For 6. So if I block Spinal Crush and Terra Sunder here, I can hammer them for 4. I would have liked to have taken a bigger turn there and really tried to like push some damage through with the Spinal Crush and like maybe like shut down one of their turns. But at the end of the day, my game plan here is to block them efficiently and take turns when they present them to me. So that's how I'm going to play the game. Azalea is, in my opinion, an easier deck to fatigue than Lexi. Now that might be like some like me being naive in certain aspects of the game, but I do feel that way about the deck. Oh man, so block Fate Foreseen, block Command and Conquer here. Like, I guess use the Staunch Response here if it's needed. Okay, so now they're throwing a 1 for 11. Currently we're looking at a 1 for 11. So 7 and 4 is 11. Pitch Command and Conquer to make a surge. Then we have a Command and Conquer and a Pummel semi-close in our pitch stack. So I'm good with just doing that. Save our equipment for a rainy day, and then we'll Arsenal a Command and Conquer. And when we have a turn when we have a turn where we can try to hang on to a blue instead of throwing hammer, we'll throw our Command and Conquer at them. We'll put that to the bottom. I'm just in the interest of cycling my blues to the bottom to find of cycling cards to the bottom to look for defense reactions faster. The more help we have against their bigger turns, the better off we're going to be. So Fatigue Bravo is probably the worst matchup for Azalea. I could see that. I mean, I could definitely see like Azalea really struggling with this matchup. I know that it was in a lot of ways, it was like moderately. I'm not gonna say easy. Like, you had to try, and like Azalea has a lot of like ways to like play around things. But like, I fatigued Azalea quite a bit with Oldhim, so I imagine that Bravo also probably plays into that strategy well, just because Bravo plays a little bit more aggressively and can offer more on hits like Crippling Crush and Spinal Crush, just to where like Oldhim was just throwing Command and Conquer at you mostly. So it looks like this is for 9 currently. So block 9 here. If we block 9, keep the Sink Below in our hand, we're in a decent spot. I mean, again, I hate to keep giving up all of we're like this 2 Spinal Crushes we blocked with instead of like, you know, trying to cycle them back into our deck. Why did they use Snapdragon Scalers? That has Go again. You're just not getting the on-hit effect that you want from that. And then if this is a Pox token or something, I was like, we have a lot of equipment. So I mean, I'm just gonna Sink Below here. I guess I could block Crater Fist and Stillbraid Buckler here to stop the Ponder effect. Maybe my equipment is worth the extra card. It's also pretty early in the game, so I'm okay just taking 3 here. Like, they're down to 41 cards, and I'm still sitting at 36. Immediately punished for my decision. I mean, I guess they would have had Battering Bolt in their hand, but it's probably not. I mean, they probably won't throw the Battering Bolt at us. I was like, they're probably going to put it on the bottom of the deck. Battering Bolt when you have a Pummel in your hand feels really bad. It's just one of those things that like does not line up well. Battering Bolt definitely wins that matchup if you have a Pummel in your hand, so. Put a card on the top of the deck. Thought he activated Azalea. Did he... Did my opponent find a Battering Bolt off the top of their deck as well? And they have one to pitch? Okay, I guess they did. So, I mean, there's one Pummel left in our deck we haven't seen yet, and we put all of our Command and Conquers on the bottom. So, I mean, like, we have a couple of options here. We can decide that this isn't a Rain Razors, which it does very clearly seem like it is. This feels like a Rain Razors of some variety. I don't know why they would have used their Tunic if it wasn't. They could have just pitched the other card. But it feels like they want to play Rain Razors to get me here, and then they want to be able to arsenal their last card. So if we're playing like it's not Rain Razors, we give them Debilitate, Tectonic Plating, Crater Fist, Buckler, Iron Rot Legs. We block 9 here. We keep the Command and Conquer Pummel effect, and we just say okay. Now, if this hits, we lose a life, and they take the so we'll end up taking 3. Go into 33, and they'll take the Pummel from our hand. So it's kind of like whatever we're calling them having here. I could also just give them a card, give them Crown, put the Pummel on the bottom. Let's just hope we get a little bit lucky here. We'll just, like, this feels like Hook, Line, and Seeker a bait. Yep, and it was. I knew better. And I just played like a dang fool right there. Like, and it's like you make a couple decisions like that across a tournament, and you cost yourself the game. Like, it's unfortunate, but it's all it takes. Takes a few mistakes like that. Actually, before I throw Command and Conquer, I should just activate Bravo. That way I can get all my cards out that way. I mean, I took a chance and it just didn't pan out, but they also telegraphed their play to me. Like, I should have made a better play and I just didn't. I decided to take a chance, and sometimes those chances pay off and sometimes they don't. So the Command and Conquer here still gets 2 cards out of their hand, which is pretty solid for us. I mean, and we're still at 33 life. Like, we have a pretty substantial like life life hold here for our opponent to have used one Codex and one for them to have used one Rain Razors, one Codex, and one Battering Bolt. So this is for 4. We'll just go ahead and play the Fate Foreseen. I guess we'll leave that on top. I mean, like, we're looking for defense reactions. That's what we're using our other defense reactions to find, is to cycle our, like, blue cards that block for 3, essentially, to be able to, just to be able to, like, try and find more defense reactions. More defense reactions we have, the better. And I mean, for what it's worth, you don't have to you don't have to play Command and Conquer Pummel in the same hand. You don't have to play that to win to win these kinds of games by any means. I'm just a firm believer that playing Command and Conquer and Pummel together, like during, like at least once or twice during this matchup, is a very beneficial way for you to gain points and to gain advantage here. Opponent goes to 31. We arsenal a Staunch. We draw possibly one of the worst hands I've ever seen. Ever. Like, bar none, almost. This is atrocious. Not only do we have 4 reds in our hand, but we have, like, at least we have a Sink Below. Had we put the Sink Below on the bottom, we'd just be crying to ourselves right now. Like, this does not feel like a good hand at all. Okay, so they have an arrow in their hand. They're going to be activating Death Dealer. They're trying to pitch some red arrows to try and set up some pitch stack here, which I respect. It's a good play from our opponent to try and play into the late game. What does this say? From your deck. Okay. So defense reactions can't be played from Arsenal, which is fine. You're just kind of like, I understand playing the buff there, but you're just kind of like wasting an extra card. Like that's, I guess that's got to be more about the buff than it does anything, if I had to guess. So we're just going to go Sink Below, put the Pummel on the bottom. Put this on the bottom, draw into the blue that we wanted to see, and then we're just going to play the Staunch Response here to cover this up entirely. We could have blocked with the Crippling Crush there and just taken 4. I'd rather not take damage if we don't have to. We're getting to keep cards in our deck this way, and we're getting to take 0 damage, which is very important. We did have to use like one of our best defense reactions and Staunch Response there to do it. There are 2 Sink Belows and 2 Fate Foreseens left in the deck. We have a Fate Foreseen in our hand, so like, we're at 33, but we've used a lot of equipment. So, like, our opponent's definitely wearing us down. We need to have a big turn or 2 here where we really, like, push through some damage and try to make something happen. Like, the Choke Slam is good. Choke Slam is good in this matchup because our opponent, like, likes to play a lot of buffs. So, like, if Choke Slam has a relevant on-hit effect, like, Spinal Crush has a very relevant on-hit effect, Crippling Crush has a very relevant on-hit effect. So, like, you kind of just, like, have to try and make it work. Our opponent uses Tunic, uses Death Dealer, and then they undo. Probably deciding what they want here. Okay. Don't really understand your rationale for playing that before you decide to do whatever you're going to do with your Death Dealer activation here. They're just going to pass. Weird flex, bro. I'm going to make a Surge. I'm going to activate Bravo, and then I'm going to throw the Choke Slam at them. The Choke Slam is a relevant card here. Like, I could have not made a Surge and, like, threatened the Pummel here. Could have made them think about it, but I don't think that bluffing is really where I want to be. If I have the capability to take them off of pumps for a turn, I would much rather do that and then play into the game plan strategically. I guess their equipment. They must have like a really good hand here. They're giving me Remorseless and they're giving me their equipment. I was like, there's no way that like that's correct. I can't imagine that Tunic and Crosswrap. No, it's all good, dude. No worries. Like, I can't imagine that Tunic and Crosswrap and a Remorseless is worth you not being able to pump stuff for a turn here. Like, the odds of me drawing things that are just that backbreaking for you is not that likely. Just not going to happen. Now, I mean, I have to admit, these are some pretty backbreaking cards right here. Because I have the ability to throw a Staunch at something for 7 if I need to. And like throw Staunch if I really need to, and then also play Starstruck here. So they're coming in with red in the ledger. I mean, I could give like Crown and a card here. I could just throw my Staunch response. I think I'm just going to take 2, go to 31, and then I'm going to throw my Starstruck here, and I'm going to force them to actually just deal with it. Because I think that something that a lot of Bravo, like, and maybe more Bravo people realize this than I know, and I just don't have a chance to interact with a lot of Bravo players, is that when you're looking at this, one of the keys to actually fatiguing decks like this is by making them block with their cards. And when you're dominating things, you're not making them block. They lack, like, your opponents lack the capability to be able to block to stop your turn. So like, you are pushing through relevant effects that are ultimately stunting their turns in some way. But if you're like really looking to like try and fatigue them and run them out of cards, like, you really need to allow your opponents to block more. Like right here, we got 3 cards out of their hand: a Remorseless, a Premeditate, and a Lacewell Bloodrot. Those are all cards that I don't want to see late game. Those are all cards I don't want to see pitched. Those are all cards I don't want to have to fight later. Like, now, we only dealt 3 points to our opponent there, but we also got some really good stuff out of the way. Man, this hand is like all kinds of awkward. This hand could very well just be pitch Starstruck to play the Staunch response here, make a Surge with Chokeslam, or I guess make a Surge with Crippling Crush, throw Hammer, and then Arsenal Chokeslam. Because if I ever have the capability of keeping 2 blues at a turn, then I can dominate the Chokeslam at some point. I could also just take the line that I have Crown of Providence so I can be a little more greedy with my Crippling Crush. But Chokeslam is a way cheaper card that also shuts our opponent down just as hard, kind of like in some ways. So my opponent just passes. I have to say I am a little confused here. I guess we can activate Bravo and throw Chokeslam. Like, our hand still does things offensively, so that's also one of the things about playing Azalea playing into Bravo versus playing into Oldhim, is that Oldhim didn't really have a ton of things that could super punish you. Like, Bravo's ability in this matchup is actually pretty relevant. And I know I was just talking about how I don't want to be dominating my cards because I want my opponent to be blocking, but I'm up 13 cards currently. If I can get my opponent, like, they just give us both pieces of equipment to save the Chokeslam effect, which means our hand must be pretty strong in some capacity, I imagine. But trying to like getting their equipment / like forcing through like a relevant on hit effect is awesome. Like, because now I can pitch my Rousey Ancients to play my Staunch response, make a Surge, throw the Hammer with my 2 blues, and then Arsenal my Sink Below. Or if their turn is more potent, I can pitch 2 blues to block for 10, potentially use a Sink Below if their hand is that good, and then I'm in a spot to just be able to throw Hammer. Excuse me. Uh-oh, release attention is going to make that tough. So this is going to be for 8 dominate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 9 dominate because of the aim counter. So, and I can't play my defense reaction from my arsenal, so I could just crown it away if I wanted to here. That seems, again, like a misuse of resources. Let's go Sink Below here, and we'll put the Rouse on the bottom. We draw a pretty good card there. I was going to say we're just going to swing Hammer, like make a Surge, swing Hammer, pay for Pox token, but now I kind of want to make a Surge and swing Spinal Crush, because this gets 2 cards out of their hand at least, and they have 0, and they don't have an arsenal. So we're like putting them in like a non-tempo-y position, and the less tempo they have, the better it is for us. It just puts us in such a better position the longer the game goes on. Get that Battering Bolt out of here. You like to see that. No, I can't do that, unfortunately. I wish I could, but this is a scary good hand. With a 10-point life lead, we can just consider throwing our stuff here. You must have a... I don't know what you could have. Knock doesn't even do it for you here because you don't have a card to reload. Yeah, I was like, I don't know if you understand that you have to have your card. Load Spire Sniping. If they throw Spire Sniping at us for 3, I am just going to take it. Like, I also don't really care about this. Like, Pox token would be obnoxious here if they had something to go with it. But yeah, I mean, 4 Dominate with no one hits, I'm going to go to 20 and throw my Starstruck here at the end of the game. Like, let's make our opponent, like, let's make him feel the hurt. Make a Surge, activate Bravo, throw Starstruck. Our opponent proceeds to the Cry Step. Yep. And then they can't play any attacks during their turn. Like, that was for 7, so they can't even play the, like, bigger attack that they have. Like, the Battering Bolt doesn't even get played here because it's base power. You can't do that, bud. That is not a legal play you just made. I love to watch people try to play into the Starstruck. And I have to say, it was weird. Like, when this card, you can't play that either, bud. Like, you can play all the pumps you want. You can't do anything, dude. Like, I don't know if my opponent's, like, just playing cards. So, like, what I was going to say is, like, when Talishar, like, when the new set first came out, like, when Dusk Till Dawn came out and Starstruck became a thing for all of us, dude, it's, like, read the text box. Like, Starstruck's text actually would not prevent anybody from doing anything. And so, like, I actually had to just tell people, you can't do this, like, you can't do that, and, like, just, like, kind of, like, trust that people would do the right thing. Now, some people were cool about it. Like, I mean, like, some people were super nice, and they were like, oh, hey, like, I didn't know that, you know, sorry, like, and then some people, like, I had one guy quit a game one time. He was just like, well, see you later, like, and just quit, and I was like, okay, like, that's fine, like, Starstruck is a very powerful card and, like, provides a lot of value. Let's go Disabled in the 2 showtimes. Well, we're definitely just going to take 2 here. We have no reason to do anything or block. I didn't even know they showed Knock the Death Whistle. Knock the Death Whistle, if I can talk. Good lord. I mean, again, like, that's fine. You're just putting an arrow on top of your deck because you don't have anything to reload. Honestly, kind of starting to think that our opponent is just, like, a newer player, and that they don't really understand what's going on. Not to sound, like, mean or anything. Like, it's just their play patterns and the things that they're doing. It seems suboptimal in a lot of ways. I'm going to throw a Dominated Disable here, or Thunderquake, because if they only have a 3 block in their hand, they're just dead to it. Plus, the disabled didn't have any text. Didn't have a text box because they have no arsenal. So, yeah, and that's it. Good game, opponent. That was definitely a newer player. But I mean, like, if that was one of their first time playing, if that was like their first time playing Azalea or anything like that that wasn't bad. And like, I can see them like trying to turn that deck around and like turn it into something. Do you want to go first in the mirror? Do you want to go second? Like, I don't know, honestly. Like, it's weird because like going second gives you the tempo, but like you have the chance to like arsenal cards if you go first. Like, I don't know. It's weird. Let's go second and see what happens. Like, I genuinely don't know what's correct, so we're just gonna try it. And maybe the Sinks and the Fates are not the correct decision. Now, our Bravo opponent did have them in, so like maybe I just want to play like aggro Bravo and just not respect my opponent and just try to play offense. Seems a little risky. Seems like not a great plan here, but with 39 blues, I don't know that we can really like. Let's bring in Staunches and just see what happens. Let's just bring in the value defense reactions here and just try it. Like, I don't know. This would have been an insanely good hand to dominate on turn 0. Like, we would have pushed through quite a bit of damage here. If I'm able to, I'm gonna like try to block 9 and keep my Rouse the Ancients here. Rouse the Ancients is like a very, very strong card that allows me to have a lot of value early in the game. Rouse puts them on the back foot early and gives us tempo. We're gonna block like that, keep the Cranial Crush. I know that there's a lot of blues in our deck, but and Crippling Crush is like a very like powerful card, but I would rather have the consistency of being able to turn on attacks and make things happen. So I can play Rouse the Ancients, reveal, Chokeslam, Zealous Belting, and then not do anything. I can dominate a Chokeslam. I can go Zealous Belting. I can make a Surge, Zealous Belting into Hammer, Arsenal my Chokeslam. Doesn't seem like a bad option. I guess we're setting up for like a late game. Setting up for like a second cycle. Rouse the Ancients if the game goes that way. If the game plays out that way. They've also already pitch stacked a Crippling Crush with a blue. I need to get back into the habit of like pitch stacking and like knowing where my deck's at and like how many cards I have left. That's something that I really got out of the habit of after I stopped trying to fatigue decks playing Oldhim. And that's something I really need to keep track of going forward. All right, so I've put 2 cards back into my deck, and it's the first hand is a Rouse the Ancients hand. My opponent blocks 6 here. So block Showtime, Chokeslam, just keep life total up in cards, and then I can just activate Tectonic Plating, activate Bravo, throw Chokeslam. I mean, people would probably argue that it's worth to take 1 here and keep a 3 for 6 in my arsenal, but I think I'd rather just keep my life total up. So I've pitched 2 cards so far. Like the downfall for you guys of me going back to like keeping track of my pitch stack all the time and what I've done is you guys have to listen to me count how many cards I put back into my deck. But I honestly think that's the best way for a player to like learn to do it. It's like the easiest way, like in an IRL game, is to say I've put 24 cards back into my deck, or 16 or whatever it is, and you count your deck and you're like, okay, I got 12 cards until I get back to my pitch stack. And I know my first hand is a Rouse the Ancients hand, and I know my second hand is a Dominate, Crippling Crush hand, like Command and Conquer Pummel, and so on and so on. And when you get into the habit of doing that, you make yourself a better player, because over the course of time, you're just teaching yourself how to do it, and then you start to do it subconsciously. Like by the end of RTN season, I was pitch stacking Oldhim hands without even thinking about it. And like I think that's how you see great players like Haydendale, Tark Patel. Gosh, I can't remember the guy's name that won US Nationals. I can't remember his name right now. Cannot remember his name to save my life right now. I want to say Chris or something. I can't remember. I don't know. But like all those, you take all those like great players and like they're pitch stacking subconsciously. Like they're not even thinking about it, because like they know what's going on. Like they know what's going on with their deck. They know what's going on like with the game. And so they're living in a world where they don't have to think about it. They're just pitch stacking. And so now I know that my first hand is a hand, like my first pitch stack hand. So I went 2 blue 6s, a blue 8, and I went Arouse the Ancients. So I know that I have a go again hand. This hand is less than optimal for me. I honestly want to take 5. As crazy as that is, like I don't know if that's correct or not, but man. So I think they're just starting over. I don't really know what they're going for here. I mean, they're down 6 points, but they have a go again hand. Seems pretty solid to me. Maybe they have 2 reds in their hand and they weren't calculating correctly. So I'm going to go to 35 here. And then if they pitch 2 reds to come in with the hammer, I'm going to block with a Starstruck. And then I'm going to hammer for 6 and arsenal my pummel. No, so he wants to keep his red. Now he wants to attack with it. Okay, that's fine. So I'm going to take 5 more here and go to 30, which is fine. Because I'm losing some points here to be able to start getting into the habit of swinging my hammer, which is where I want to be. And plus, Chokeslam's just attack action, so it doesn't matter. So this is cards 5 and 6 that I've put back into my deck. Going to assume my opponent has a pretty decent hand that they're wanting to throw back at me here. So I've put 6 cards into my deck. This is a good hand. So we're just going to block 7. We're also going to throw an Anothos at them. We're also just going to throw an Anothos at them, keeping cards in our deck here. So our second hand is 3 blues and a Starstruck. One of our blues is Arouse the Ancients. This is cards 7 and 8 we're putting into our deck. So we're 8 cards in. Our first hand is Arouse the Ancients hand, and our second hand is an optional Starstruck or Arouse the Ancients hand. However we see fit. Guys, appreciate y'all hanging out with me on a Tuesday night, trying to get some ProQuest practice in. Appreciate y'all keeping me company. This is probably just going to be hammer from our opponent here. This hand is like the epitome of terrible. Like this is absolutely abysmal. I have like rarely seen hands this bad. Part of me just wants to block with Crown, put this on the bottom, and then try to go Command and Conquer Pummel. Hey, what's going on, Nick? What's up, man? Yeah, dude. Let me finish this game and I'll hop in the Discord, brother. And we can play some. If I give Crown here and I find a blue, I can go Spinal Crush Pummel. Start playing a little bit of offense, and my third hand will start with a Pummel. So now we have a red Pummel. So 5, 6, 7. So we just need to throw this here. And this is pretty suspecting. Like this is pretty clearly like we have a Pummel that we're gonna throw at our opponent here. Seems pretty on the nose. Like, and I think our opponent started to block and just go to block 9, and then they realized that this is probably a Pummel here. So our third hand, so now the Pummel was our 9th card into our deck. Macho Grande and Cranial Crush is cards 10 and 11. We're going to pitch a Staunch Response. So our third hand is going to be 2 blues, a Staunch Response, and a Pummel. Not a great hand, honestly. It's like we're not looking at something great in that situation. Okay, so they currently blocking 5. They don't gain a life. We're gonna go for the Pummel here. Now they probably are aware that it's coming. Like, I assume this is like a Staunch Response or an Unmovable here. No, this is just a take 8. Interesting. Well, I wouldn't have seen that coming. Like, probably not in a million years, just being honest with you guys. This might be one of the worst hands I've ever seen. I feel like that's like the second time I've said that tonight. I don't know if that's me being dramatic, which is very possible. If you guys know anything about me, it's that I am a little dramatic sometimes. Oh, we can set up a Zealous Belting in our arsenal here. Try to have a bigger turn. So the start of we just put our 14th card into our deck, and the start of our 4th hand is a blue Unmovable. This hand isn't really doing much. We could just take 11 and go to 15, and then keep our 2 cards and go Zealous Belting Hammer. I mean, I think that's our best bet here. We put 13 cards into our deck. We kept probably the 2 worst cards, in my opinion, to do what we're looking to do here. But, I mean, so Starstruck and Fighting Spirit are cards 14 and 15. So our 4th hand is looking like blue Unmovable, blue Fighting Spirit, and a Starstruck, which means we want our next card to be a blue so that we have the option to dominate a Starstruck. Now, at the rate the game is going, me talking about pitch stack is merely a formality of me talking about my practice here and making sure that I'm staying in peak form for pitch stack. This game is going very quickly. There's a lot of like a lot of aggressive swings that are happening during the course of this game. So they give us 6. Okay, interesting. And they go to 20. Okay, so they are playing Sigils in their deck, which is very interesting. So 14, 15. This hand is not great. If I was to go, I could go Spinal Crush here, which guarantees 2 cards or a defense reaction out of their hand. I could pitch Spinal Crush to make a surge, pitch Showtime to play Hammer, Arsenal, Pummel, and try to set up a Crippling Crush Pummel turn, which is like an extremely strong value play for us. I don't know. This hand doesn't feel great. Doesn't really feel like we're... Like, how many Command and Conquers have we seen so far? We've seen one, and they had got rid of their crown. So maybe we're supposed to pitch Spinal Crush, and then we're supposed to swing a Nothos with pitching Showtime and Crippling Crush. And then we're supposed to let the start of our 5th hand just be a little rough. Because they've said no blocks here. Like, their hand is obviously going to be good. We're going to go Showtime, then Crippling Crush. And we didn't draw anything that really plays to what we were looking for here. Activate Bravo. We're just going to Staunch here for 10. Pitching our 2 attacks. Yeah. We're just going to go Staunch for 10 here. Take 1, join them at 14, and then we'll swing the hammer back at them. And then again, we're just kind of hanging on for a pummel. So that was... We went 17-18 with the Spinal... Or the Crippling Crush and the Spinal Crush. And then we just pitched 2 blues, which is 20 cards. So we've put 20 cards back into our deck. The unmovable is 21. And then we know that our first 5 hands is Rouse the Ancients. And then we have optional Rouse the Ancients or Starstruck. Our 3rd hand is... everything after that's a little bit of a blur. But I know that I pitched in a somewhat strategic way, so... Well, this is a spot where one of the 0-for-4s would have been very beneficial for us. And this is also a not great spot for us because I think we're just forced to block 3 and discard Macho Grande Thunderquake, go to 10, and then swing Hammer for 4. Like, I think this is just our turn. It's unfortunate that I used my equipment. I'm not going to say in a poor way because we used our equipment to stop 2 very relevant things, and we used our Crown of Providence on a turn when we virtually had no turn if we didn't use it. So it worked out in a very positive light for us. Really hoping that I can block with a Chokeslam here. I just put my 22nd card into my deck with that. That is not great. I would be giving up both of my Command and Conquers. So I can give both my Command and Conquers and then swing the hammer, which is mighty unfortunate, but I think that, like, we're needing to block and play efficiently at this point. Our life total is low. Command and Conquer Pummel is a very good turn for us and would definitely have put us in the driver's seat because our opponent's either forced to give us 3 cards and 1 piece of equipment or 2 cards and all of their equipment from here. But again, I think we're in a spot where beggars can't be choosers and we have to wait for our big turn. We have played 1 Staunch Response and pitched 1 Staunch Response from what I can, I know we pitched 1 earlier. There was a hand where we had 2 blues, a Staunch Response, and a pummel together, which was not great. I think that was our 4th hand that we pitched stack. This is our 23rd card we've put into our deck. We are currently 15 cards away from the top, 15 cards away from our pitch stack, and our life total is pretty low, so we're trying to hang on as long as we can here. I really like the quick commands that they have put in the game. Talishar has done a fantastic job at listening to player concerns and updating the game as needed, which has been it's just honestly very nice to be a part of a community in a game that like listens to the players and like takes updates and things that they are suggesting. It's a very nice feeling, honestly, just as a whole. Would like to be able to dominate a Crippling Crush, but 3, 5, 6, 7. So I mean, if they have no defense reaction, like this is also a pummel Crippling Crush turn. But even if they swing with the hammer here, like Okay, so if I blocked with, like, there's no reason to block with my equipment here. Blocking with my equipment doesn't stop the crush effect. I could give one card here. I could give 2 cards and throw hammer for 6. Take 1, go to 7, and then I'm just giving them another turn to try and have it. And I guess if they say no blocks, like if I block with Crippling Crush Warmonger's Diplomacy, I'm giving myself an opportunity to try and win the game with the pummel. I think that's the correct, like the poised decision to make here. It's definitely not the fun decision, but I think it is the correct decision. And if I was playing for like something that was like very important, I think that is the call I would make in this situation. To try, I've been sitting on this pummel and I'm trying to play patiently here. So my opponent at this point has probably sniffed out that it's like one of, like, if they were paying attention to my pitch stack, that it's my last staunch response, or that it is my or it's a pummel, that or I'm like sitting on a defense reaction waiting for them to like take a turn off and activate Bravo. Because if they want to have a big swing turn here, they're gonna have to do it sometime in the next probably like 3 to 4 turns. It's definitely going to be this turn. If they're giving me equipment, it's going to be this turn. They're going to try and go for it here, which is unfortunate because this is a pummel and I wanted to be able to push damage through. I mean, I guess I could play the pummel, put them to 2, and then hope that their crush effect isn't like backbreaking. Like, I don't know. I think we just kind of have to go for it here. This is cards 24 and 25 I put into my deck. I'm now 8 cards away from my pitch deck. So if I block 3 and they have a pummel, I take 2 and then I take 4 more. So I'd be going to 1, discarding my Fighting Spirit. And then their hammer would require me to block with Terra Sunder and Macho Grande. Or I guess I do have the capability of blocking with Macho Grande and all of my equipment, which does not seem like a good trade-off. I'm going to block with my Choke Slam here. This puts me to 5. How many defense reactions have they played to this point? They've played 2 Sink Belows and a blue Unmovable. I guess let's just block 6. Like, if they have the pummel, it puts us to 1 here. There's no reason in like potentially losing the game to go for a Terra Sunder play here, when any defense reaction like completely foils that plan. That is just a very like bonkers move to make here. This is card 26 back into our deck. So we'll go up to 34, then down to 30, which means not this hand, but the following hand will be pitch stack. Even if I lose this game, I'm really hoping to ensure that I get to that hand, just to ensure that I actually pitch stack correctly and that I'm able to count the cards correctly. I have a habit of getting into the point of the game where like I get late into the game and I miscount a card, or I do this or I do that, and then I end up in a bad situation because I'm 1 card off. And the Staunch and the Unmovable were in my last hand. It's unfortunate. So no pummel here. That, like, it's impossible for them to have a pummel here. So I give Debilitate, Disable, Swing, Hammer for 4, and then Arsenal my Staunch response instead, and set up to protect myself from a big scary turn here. I think that's our play. They don't have to block this if their hand is really good, but the Staunch response kind of bails me out from that, because that is their last Command and Conquer. I thought I counted correctly. I'm going to go up to 31. This is the 27th card going into my deck. So I should go I should go up to 31 and then down to 27, which means this is the last hand of non-pitch stack cards. They'll be exactly it, Mike. So my first hand should be Rouse the Ancients and 3 more blues. I believe a Cranial Crush, a Debilitate, and something else are the cards there. So we have an interesting decision here. Do we use our Staunch? Or do I just block with 3 cards and throw the hammer again? Like, I can very easily block with Spinal Crush and and both my Warmonger's Diplomacies, and then just swing hammer and try to take my big turn on the next turn, which will be my swing turn. I think that's the correct play. I think we're just supposed to go to 3 here and play patiently. I definitely think that's our move. I've been a lot more patient this game than I was last game, so I'm going to go up to 28, and then I'm going to go down to 24, and this is the 28th card that I've put into my deck. So the card on the very far left hand of my side, the very, very left-hand side of my screen should be my pitch deck, if I have counted correctly. Moment of truth, huh, chat? It's time to see if I still have it. If like my lack of practice of pitch stacking has cost me too many points. Oh, there they go. They just passed. So they must have a defense reaction here. That or they're going to 1. That or their hand's insane and they're just going to 1. Okay. Nope, they're going to pitch their unmovable. Oh, so the unmovable was in their arsenal. So they've been sitting on a blue unmovable for a while now. Yep, okay, so I counted exactly correct, which is what I wanted to do there. This is a red choke slam. Man, I'm just not able to do my Rouse play, huh? You know what I could do, which is a little crazy. So it's a little crazy, but hear me out here. We know that our next hand is going to be Starstruck and potential Rouse. So if I was to throw 7 at this, if I was to like pitch Cranial Crush here, throw 7 at this, make a Surge, and throw Hammer, and then Arsenal Rouse the Ancients, I go to 2, and then I'm forcing them to make a play here. I mean, technically they have to give me a card, at least 1 card here. So, and I mean, I could also just block 3. Nah. Let's throw the Staunch here. Glad to know that I can pitch stack a little bit still. It's good to know that it's at least there when I'm focusing and paying attention. The joys of them being at 5 is that they cannot give me just the legs here. They have to give me 2 cards. And if they played all 3 sigils... No, they've only played 2. Do they pitch a sigil somewhere? Maybe they're only on 2 sigils. Maybe they felt like the other 2 weren't necessary. Rouse. I was like, I can't imagine that's what they actually want to do here. So if I block Fighting Spirit and all of my equipment, I stay at 2. And then it's Rouse into Hammer, which is a really solid turn. Yeah, this is nice because I get to stay at 2. Now, I am using all of my equipment to take my swing turn right here. Like, this is definitely my swing turn. So 7 go again, which means they give me at least 1 card. They'll probably give me 2. They'll probably give me their whole hand here. Like, I'm hoping that this turn is good enough for me to get their whole hand. Okay, so they're going to go to 2 and swing hammer for 4, which means I can give them 1 card, and then as long as it's the hand that I think it is. Okay, it's not. I was 1 hand off. It was the 3rd hand. Oh, so they're just going to Arsenal. Starstruck for 10 gets 3 cards out of their hand minimum. Unless they have a defense reaction. If it's a blue unmovable that they have, it is 1 card and then they get to keep 2 cards. I could also just make a Surge and throw Hammer here and play into the pummel effect. No, I guess we can't make a Surge, can we? Let's just throw Starstruck here. It's like just big enough to like get enough cards out of their hand. Like at this point, like we have, okay, so they don't have a defense reaction. So they're going to go to 1 here, which is awesome. And then our staunch response is like going to be just enough to bail us out if we still find ourselves in a bad situation somehow, which is very convenient. Knowing that they had to give me their whole hand, I probably should have kept the pummel. But, I mean, I never know if they're actually going to have to give me the pummel or not. I'm just going to pitch Fighting Spirit to play the unmovable. And then I'm just going to come in with Hammer for 6. And then we're going to be stuck in this, like, weird loop of hammering for 6 until I find something good enough to try and end the game. Because none of us have any equipment, and he's at 1 and I'm at 2. This has been a really clean game. I think this game has been better because I was more focused this game, and I was playing a little bit cleaner than I was the first game. I feel like, I mean, so we had some awkward hands the first game, but I was also playing, like, kind of tough, just not playing super well. So if I give Spinal Crush here and attempt to go to 1, and then he has a pummel, this goes to a 7. This goes to 10, and then this staunch response puts me at 11. And so then I can still throw my hammer for 6 here. My opponent definitely thought he was going to get me right there. Or no, it's 10 on 10. I can't count. Lord, I was having a stroke. Thought it put me at 11, but that's with a defense reaction. So I get to make a Surge here and then come in with the hammer for 6. And now, since they have no arsenal, now we're just in this weird loop of hammer, 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 hammer. And I'm going to go up to 22 and then down to 18. So I'm up 5 cards on the turn cycle while we're doing this hammer, hammer, hammer back and forth, which means eventually I'm just going to run them out of cards. So, and if I was playing in a real tournament, I would honestly, like, if it looked like we were going to run into time, I would expect my opponent to be able to see that and keep. Oh, interesting. Go to 4. Okay. I mean, that does give them another card to give, like. This is actually kind of neat. I can give the disable and go to 1 here, and then I can tear asunder hammer. And then, unless they have, like, a red unmovable in their hand, like, that extra point of life to be able to give right there is probably going to actually end up winning me this game. Because if they block 3, yeah, they're just dead. Because they have nothing in their arsenal. I was like, so if they don't have a defense reaction in their hand, they're dead. Oh, wow. What a game. 150 damage threatened, and I dealt 49. 32 total minutes, which means the game probably would have taken like 42 total minutes. Like in paper. All right. Well, it feels good to win the Bravo Mirror after losing it earlier. It feels better to know that I was playing more strategically. I was like, you know, counting my pitch stack more, and like I was just and it rewarded me for playing well and playing better. Ended up winning the game. Uh-oh, something about Austin Eckler. Oh man, another Bravo mirror? What is going on tonight? Man, this is gonna be like Bravo mirror the contest tonight. Like, this is crazy. So last match we just put in staunch responses and just played it that way. So I'm gonna try that and see if that works again. And if my opponent is on 72 cards, Jesus. All right, so my opponent's just trying to fatigue us. It feels like. Feels like they're just gonna try and run us out of cards over the course of the game. Able to pitch 2 blues and go get a showtime. That's a really good start to this game. What are you gonna get? Chokeslam is revealed. You gonna come in with hammer for 6 here? I mean, that's fine. Takes 2 cards out of my deck and takes 2 cards out of his deck. So I mean, we're just gonna come in for 11 here. We take some good cards out of our opponent's hand here, and we deal 3 to them. So we're gonna go Tear Asunder, Fighting Spirit, Spinal Crush, so that we know as long as our next card is a blue, that we are in a decent spot. Because that means that we have the ability to throw a Crippling Crush next turn, or on our first pitch stacked hand. So we've put 3 cards back into our deck. I'm gonna block with Chokeslam here, take 3, go to 37, and then I'm gonna go Zealous, go again into Hammer. I'm gonna take my tempo turn here early in the game if I can. The earlier I can try to get some tempo out of this game, the better off I'll be. 5, go again. And then the Hammer. So this is going to be cards 4 and 5 that we're putting into our deck. And our first hand is a Spinal Crush hand. I mean, I can go to 31, throw Crippling Crush, and arsenal my Pummel here. Which, like, I could block with the Pummel if I wanted to, but I think that I want to try and keep this pressure that I have right now on my opponent, and if I'm able to draw like a Command and Conquer Pummel or something, I'll just kind of like, you know, go ham and throw it at our opponent here. Plus, they're forced to give us 3 cards, a defense reaction, and a card, or they're forced to give us some amount of equipment here. Take 2. Yeah, go to 29. We put cards 4 and 5, so this is 6 and 7. So our next hand's looking at all blues. This hand is like absolutely abysmal. Jesus, this hand's terrible. I mean, part of me is honestly incentivized to just like use Crown here, but that puts us in a bad spot against Command and Conquer if they're able to threaten Pummel with it later in the game. So it's a little bit of a greedy play this early on. I could just... Honestly, I might just block with this Pummel. Go to 29 and then throw Hammer for 10. Does not feel great. Or no, I guess it's not even throw Hammer for 10 because Warmonger's Diplomacy doesn't work the way that I want it to. This is still only going to be for 4. I guess like there's going to be one more Pummel in my deck, so I'll just have to use it sparingly. But I am going to throw the Pummel here to be able to arsenal my Staunch Response. Like to put myself ahead on the life race. 4, 5, 6, 7. This is cards 8 and 9 here. Putting the Cranial Crush in the second hand if I can, because it just seems like a better value play. So this is card number 10, 11, and 12. So our first 3 hands have been decided. We're looking at our first hand has the potential for a Spinal Crush. It's Spinal Crush and 3 blues, and then our next 2 hands are all blues. So probably going to use those a little defensively if we can. Pitch 2 blues to block with this, which is like very valuable for us. So let's see. That was the first 3 hands. So this is cards 13 and 14. Cards 13 and 14. Throw hammer for 6. Okay, so they have something they're going to throw at us here. So this is 15 and 16. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter how we shake it up here. We're looking at finding... Yeah, it doesn't really matter how we shake it up there. That was like our 4th hand right there. So we're going to Arsenal the Staunch Response here. I'm going to give Chokeslam. I could alternatively... Actually, I think I'm going to give Starstruck here. Go to 25. Throw my Chokeslam. Yeah, so that was cards 13 and 14. This is card number 15. I have pitched 15 cards into my deck. And our first hand is by far our best hand. Our second and third hands are not looking that great. I mean, we're up 3 points and our opponent has used... neither one of us have used any equipment, so... I mean, honestly, this just feels like block 6, keep life totals, and then throw hammer for 4, which is unfortunate, but I think it's fine to be able to swing the hammer for 4. Like, hammer for 4 is not very threatening, but we're continuing to be on the same game plan. So we went to card 15, so this is 16 and 17. I don't remember our hand really having anything of powerhouse value in our 4th hand that we're pitch stacking, so I'm going to throw the Staunch Response in there because the Staunch Response being our 16th card gives us more value over the course of the game. The closer in our pitch stack, we're able to be bailed out by a decent pitch stack and keeping up with our defense reactions into a close late game strategy. This feels like block Chokeslam, block Showtime. Actually, block Command and Conquer, block Showtime. And swing Chokeslam here. Yeah, that's fine. If they want to push through damage with a blue pummel, that's fine. We've put 17 cards into our deck. We have now put 18 cards into our deck. If this is hammer, we're taking it. I mean, an 11-point swing is pretty good. And it also means that our Command and Conquer pummel is not going to have any value here. So if I take 5, Staunch Response to this. If I take 5, go to 18, Staunch Response to this, and then I throw hammer for 4, pitching Command and Conquer and rouse. Then I get to Arsenal my pummel. I mean, doesn't seem great, but seems fine, I guess. They're just gonna pass. Okay, well, that completely changes everything we're doing here. We're trying to make Command and Conquer pummel look a lot better here. So we just pitched Rouse the Ancients as card number 19 into our deck. So they're just going to try and take the 5-card hand. So this is card number 20. So we're going to go Rouse and Showtime. Not that it really matters. Put 20 cards into our deck, and now we're in a situation where we can just throw Command and Conquer by itself, because it should be all 3 pummels, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's all 3 pummels. We played them all. If we give Staunch Response here, we can just keep our life lead, throw Command and Conquer off of making a Surge, Arsenal, Crippling Crush, and then hope that our opponent doesn't have one. I don't think that's bad at all. This is card number 21 I'm putting into my deck. That's card number 22. I'm just taking this. Like 100% just going to take this. Oh, I like that they changed their background. So we put 22 cards into our deck. We're 15 cards away from our pitch stack. We have the option of Dominate, Crippling Crush, because we have 8 resources, and then we Arsenal Zealous Belting. And then... Or we have the option of Zealous Belting into Crippling Crush, which is a pretty sweet play. They've changed their background quite a bit here in the last, like, 30 seconds. So before this turn, we put 22 cards into our... put 22 cards into our deck. So... We've now put 25 cards into our deck. I'm going to go Terra Sunder and Starstruck here. Getting 3 cards out of their deck right there was very good. Starstruck, Terra Sunder. So 25 cards into their deck now. They're just going to pass. I'm going to throw Starstruck here. So at 25 cards, we're shaping our hand up to 28, so all 3 of these cards don't matter how they go into the deck. Our opponent covers it up. So we're now at 28 cards into our deck. We have the capability to go Rouse into Hammer, Arsenal, Spinal Crush, which is like a very solid play. So Thunderquake is card 29. Both of our Thunderquakes are going to be 29 and 30, which means we're coming up on pitch stack here within the next turn or 2. Oh, crap. I completely forgot to hop in Discord with Nick. Lord. Dude, I completely forgot about that after that last game. Let me open up Discord, see if he's hanging out. If he is, we'll play a game or 2. Hey, Nick, what's up, man? All right, I'm in the Discord. Hopefully we see Nick here in just a second. So where was I at? Okay, so our opponent blocked 7, which is fine. So this is cards 29 and 30 going into our deck. We've put our opponent on the back foot pretty well here. Like, we're doing a pretty good job of keeping them awkward. We have 30 cards into our deck, and we know that we're gonna see a blue. We're gonna see a blue of some variety. I don't remember what it is. So arsenaling our Rouse the Ancients here seems like a good play. We we know we're going to be able to play it, and then our following turn is going to be a Crippling Crush or a Spinal Crush that we've pitch stacked. So... Nine Dominate. They're either forced to give us some defense reactions here or some equipment. This does give them a chance to kind of like swing it around here if they want. This does give them that opportunity. I could be brave. So we were at 30 cards. Now we're going to go up to 33 cards that we've pitch stacked. We're going to see our very first card of pitch stack here this turn. Like the card all the way over on our right should be a blue something. Now, again, I don't really know what it's going to be. I can't remember if I'm just being totally honest. Oh, I put the Spinal Crush first. Interesting. I wasn't thinking about that. Now that means I should have a blue 6 or blue something. So if I crown this away, I can take 4. Crown this away, take 4. Yeah, and then I have go again. Okay, so make a surge. Come in with this for go again. And then I have a surge effect active, so I'm going to activate Bravo and then come in with a dominated Spinal Crush here, which is like insane value. This is such a good hand. 5-card hand, like really showing its value here. I was like, dude, you're just dead. I was like, you got to give me some equipment or something here. Let's go like this. I think this is fine. And then, yeah, this is like not a great hand. I think we're just gonna block 3, go to 7. And then I could throw Hammer or I can throw Cranial Crush. Throwing Cranial Crush actually gets some cards out of my opponent's hand, which I'm a pretty big, like, it gets me equipment. Gets me 2 cards and a piece of equipment here. Or they're just going to give me 1 card. Okay, so maybe I should have thrown the Hammer there and kept the Unmovable. But I have so much equipment that I'm honestly not even afraid of whatever they're going to do. This is by far block 6, take 3, go to 4, and then just throw Hammer. They can no longer just give me 1 card here. They're now forced to start giving me 2 cards every single time I swing the Hammer, which means we're now in a favorable position towards the end of the game here. And now, if we're able to, we're going to block with Disable, and we're going to block Tech Plating and Iron Rot Legs so that we can block 6. And then we're going to make a surge, activate Bravo, and throw a Choke Slam at them for 8 with Dominate here. And I don't think there's a way out of this game, out of this situation for them. We knew that there were power cards in our deck somewhere. We were just waiting on them. So we pitch stacked, we played patiently, and we waited, and we were able to draw into our cards that were able to give us tempo swings at the end of the game. And we also saw some pretty good first cycle hands. That game took 17 minutes. That is a very... And I was so 17 and a half minutes, and I was 10:54 of that. So my opponent took about 6 minutes, roughly like 6.5 minutes, and I was about 11 of those minutes. Like, I feel like I played at a reasonable pace, and my opponent played at a much faster pace. So gave them, like, I don't know if my opponent played poorly per se. They were just playing quickly, and like sometimes playing quickly is not playing poorly. Sometimes those are not the same thing. Nick, can you hear me, brother?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, what's going on, man?
What's up, man?
Oh, you want to play some?
Yeah, I'm done.
Let's do it. All right, let me make a game real quick. Nope, private. Copy invite link. I'm gonna send it in the table chat that we're in, so you'll have it there. What you playing tonight?
Bravo.
Oh, a little mirror action, huh?
Yeah.
You gonna be the third mirror I've played tonight. Oh. Hey, sub number 547. Thanks for subbing. I appreciate you being part of the channel, man. Means a lot. So we're 2-1 into the Bravo mirror tonight, and the one game that I lost, I ended up being on Fate for Scenes and Sync Belows, and the 2 games I've won, I've only been on staunch responses as my only defense reactions. I don't know if that's correct. Oh, Nick, I haven't got to talk to you about it yet, but one of the changes I made tonight for the stream was I cut red unmovables and I'm playing red staunch responses instead, to try and play around Ice Lexi a little bit more. So,
All right.
just a heads up. So we're just going to present 63 cards into Nick like we have been, and we're going to try to play strategically to try and get an upper hand. Okay, so we presented 63, Nick presented 65. Let's go ahead and make a surge. And then I'm actually going to pass and heave my card here. So we've put 2 cards into our deck, and we have 4 surges. Two cards into our deck, and it was 2 blues, one being a Warmonger's Diplomacy. I pitched a blue Chokeslam was the first card I pitched deck, so that's what we're going to be looking for at pitch stack. Nick, is it going to bother you if I sit and talk about my plays?
No. Nope.
It's like, if it does, brother, just tell me. Okay, so looking at hammer here. So let's keep our life total here. Let's just give 2 cards. Us being able to heave on turn 0 is gonna do us a little bit of favors here because our Thunderquake's only gonna cost 2. So surges go off. Activate Bravo, and now we're going to throw a Dominated Thunderquake, 0 on hit effects, but gives us an ability to try and push some damage through early in the game. So now we have pitched 4 blues, one of them being a Warmonger's Diplomacy, and the other 3 of them being 4 cost, 6 attacks. So our first second cycle hand not looking to be very explosive. But we're still trying to set up and make some relevant things happen here. We're so close to having a really good hand right here, but it's just not quite able to cross the finish line, unfortunately. So... Okay, I thought Nick was playing that for Marshall.
Yeah. Oh.
So we put 4 cards back into our deck. Wonder if Nick's going to throw the hammer or if he has something else he wants to play here. So, considering that he's giving hammer, I honestly think I'm just going to take 3 here. Nick also had double Starstruck, which is interesting. It's like a pretty bad RNG moment, I feel like. But since Nick has an arsenal here, we're able to make a surge, throw Command and Conquer, and then arsenal a value card here that can potentially give us a tempo swing into a front-running position for this game. This is the 5th card we put into our deck. So again, none of the cards that we've pitched looking to be very explosive, but nonetheless, that is our 5th card we put into the deck, and we'll arsenal this. This hand, not shabby, but not great by any stretch of the imagination. Not really a big fan of this hand at all, to be honest. So Nick makes a surge. Throws a choke slam without activating Bravo. So this is a pummel in some capacity here. So let's be prepared for the worst. Let's be prepared for the worst in this situation here. We'll block 3 and see how Nick reacts. Okay, so we take 3 here. So we have 2 options here. We can pitch Spinal to make a surge and then throw Chokeslam for 8. Or we can pitch Showtime and Chokeslam to throw Spinal, which I think is better. Nick can't just give us a card and equipment to stop the 9. He has to give us either a defense reaction or 2 cards from hand here, which puts us in a decent spot. Also, this is cards 6 and 7 going into our deck, so we're setting ourselves up with a second cycle hand that has a Chokeslam. So as long as we're paying attention to our first second cycle hand, we are aware that we have the capability to make a Chokeslam or to make a Seismic Surge and then throw the Chokeslam for our second cycle hand. Okay, so Red Unmovable doing the same thing as a Staunch Response in this situation. We just need to make sure that we're pitching a blue here. This also feels like a very good hand. So Nick's throwing Hammer, so I can block with Warmonger's Diplomacy. His Hammer is also only for 4 because of his Warmonger's Diplomacy, which means we take 1. We pitch our Disable to play... Okay, yeah, so we get to have a pretty explosive turn here. So we just put cards 6 and 7 into our deck last turn. So we're definitely going to reveal 13 power. So this is card 8. We're going to put cards 8 and 9 into our deck right here, which is going to set us up for... We're going to be setting up the third hand of our second cycle. Okay. Nick gives us another unmovable here, and then we'll throw our Hammer, having a 13-point turn. We're going to put the Cranial Crush as the blue in... no, actually, we're going to put the Disable because we know that we want to play the Chokeslam in our second cycle hand. So putting the weaker attack into our second cycle into our second hand of second cycle gives us a better opportunity to not waste a higher attack card late in the game. Because while Disable does have a more relevant crush text on it, we want to be able to put, we want to make sure that we're putting cards that are individually more powerful by themselves to make sure that we're having more offense late in the game. Because life total is more relevant than anything else late in the game. I kind of like the play of... block with... this is tough. Hey, almost to 550. We're inching ever closer, Ben. What a legend. Nah, you're the legend, Ben. So this is a weird situation. Like, so if I give Chokeslam here, I can block 3, and then cards 10, 11, and 12 will just be a Terrace Underhand. I go to 30, and then I dominate my Starstruck for my arsenal, which is pretty good. I'm gonna have to refresh here. Talishar lagging a little bit. Got to refresh to make sure we're keeping everything good. My foot warmer turned off. What a travesty. Honestly, just like saying the word travesty. Oh, you work today, brother, or were you off?
I was off.
You getting anything fun or just kind of hanging out today?
Just hanging out. Just chilling before the work day.
You work tomorrow?
Yeah, I treat my Tuesdays like a Sunday.
Okay, I mean, that's fair.
Like a relaxing day.
Oh, nice, okay. I didn't know if you and Zach were out fresh airing around or...
No. Sorry, mine froze.
Oh, no, you're good, dude. I was like, I had to refresh on my screen, so there we go, just came through. All right, so we're going to activate Bravo, and then we're going to throw Starstruck here. This is cards 10, 11, and 12. So we have a all blue first, second cycle hand. Our second cycle hand is a Choke Slam, which means our first, second cycle hand needs to contain a Seismic Surge. And then our third, second cycle hand is looking like a Terra Sunder. And we also have Unmovable backup if we need it. Okay, Nick has another Unmovable here. So that's 2 red Unmovables we've gotten out of the way. It does not matter how we put the cards in sequencing here, but this is a very awkward hand, but nonetheless does function the way we need it to. And we have enough of a life lead to be able to... Okay, so Nick didn't throw anything at us, but even if he did, we have enough of a life lead to just be able to kind of hang on to this here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we have exactly 5 resources. So we're going to come in for go again. This is the 13th card. This is going to be cards 13, 14, and 15 we're putting into our deck here. And we're going to go Thunderquake, Belting, then Crippling Crush so that we can try to set up here. Now, unfortunately, we're going to have a blue here to be able to... We're going to need to pitch a blue to make our 13 through 16 hand and second cycle function properly. Okay, so Nick's got something pretty good here, just based off of how he gave us equipment there and kept 3 cards in his hand. So we might be looking at using quite a bit of our equipment this turn. Okay, so this is Command and Conquer Pummel. I have no reason to block 6 here, and this does feel like Command and Conquer Pummel, so I'm okay taking 7, discarding my Fighting Spirit, and still being up 8 points, and then I can swing Hammer for 4 in Arsenal, leaving me in a pretty decent spot. Discard this. So we're just going to swing Hammer and Arsenal. This is our 16th card. So our 4th hand is probably going to be block with Crippling Crush and throw Zealous Belting and Hammer. Wouldn't really say we were rewarded for our decision or anything. Of taking some damage to play around the pummel. And when I say play around, I mean play around by actually having a turn. We took 7 and swung 4. That's not a advantageous turn cycle for us, but So this is for 6. So I'm thinking block 6. If we block 6 here, okay, so we're going to take 4. There's no on-hit effect, which is fine. Nick's just using his value cards here. Now that does change my line. I was going to play the card in my arsenal, but now I'm just going to throw Hammer for 6 because it has an irrelevant text box at this point in time. Also, this is cards 17 and 18 we're putting back into our deck. So hopefully we can get a couple blues on our next hand. Our next 2 cards are blues so that we can set up a triple blue and Crippling Crush hand. The way we're boarding is we're also playing 63 cards in our deck, so having 63 cards throws off my pitch stack, which is something I haven't really accounted for so far tonight. Having 63 cards, like, you draw in increments of 4, right? So when you're drawing in increments of 4, it means that you have 3 more cards. So you're going to draw the first card you pitch stack before you draw anything else. So I'm going to draw a blue Chokeslam is going to be the first thing. Like, I'm going to draw 1 card in my last hand. It's going to be my last 3 cards, and then the last card that I pitch stacked. So that was cards 17 and 18 back into our deck. Okay, this is going to be Hammer for 4. And I do not have the capability to do what I want to do at all here. Like, this is like a moderately awkward hand here. I could get greedy and give Crown since I have advantage and just try to push a Rouse turn by hitting an attack or hitting a blue and then try to go into a Chokeslam. I mean, that would be a very good swing, a tempo swing. So if we hit a blue here, we could go Rouse, reveal Macho, Chokeslam, and then pitch Macho for Chokeslam, Arsenal Staunch Response. We're not playing around Command and Conquer, but it does give us a, like, it's a very good swing for us. Plus, we're going to 17 to do it. And we drew the blue. Better lucky than good. We have now put, so that was 17, 18, so that's the Command and Conquer is 19. So we need to make sure that the first card we have is a blue. We pitched 19 cards before this turn started. This is also like a super lucky first cycle hit for me. Like, this was just insane value to be able to have a Rouse. Like, this is a, like, we're playing Guardian, like, we're playing Bravo, and we're about to have a 15-point turn cycle. Like, it's insanely strong. So Nick takes 5 there. I think he wants to keep his hand here, which means our turn is looking better and better. So this is going to be 20 and 21. I want my 20th card to be the Macho Grande because it's a power card. This hand is not great, like, at all. This hand's like pretty mid. Okay, and then it's going to be Command and Conquer after this. So we're definitely going to play. Oh, actually, the Chokeslam hit. So the choke, like, this can't gain power. Do you want to undo?
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about it until I saw it pop up in the top left. You want to go back to my turn and block differently on the Chokeslam?
Absolutely.
All right, so no, you're good. To the start of a prior turn. So Surge pops. We went Rouse, pitching this. and then Choke Slam. And so, if I remember correctly, I went 20-21 there off of what I pitched. So, we're going to have 21 cards in our pitch stack into our deck. And we went Macho Grande first. So, our 21st card was a Fighting Spirit. I mean, this hand is like just not good, like really at all. I mean, I don't even... I guess I'm going to go to 13 here to be able to play all 4 cards in my hand, or use all 4 cards in my hand anyway, which will also coincidentally put me back up to 24. So activate this, attack with this, and then we're going to use our last 2 cards in our hand here as a reaction. So putting cards 22, 23, and 24 into our deck. So I'm going to go Macho, Starstruck, then Staunch Response. So if I have a Surge from my hand that is cards 17 through 20, I'm able to throw the Starstruck late game off of 2 cards and arsenal my Staunch. Or if I need to be bailed out, I have a Staunch in my hand, and then I can pitch my other Macho Grande, and I can pitch my 2 Macho Grandes, or I can pitch a Starstruck and a Macho Grande to be able to throw Hammer for 6 late game. So pushing through 5 here and putting Nick to 3. Oh, nope. Sorry, I clicked on the wrong card first. It didn't stack them how I thought it would when I wanted to pitch, when I was like trying to determine how I was going to put cards on the bottom. There we go. So we're going to do it like that. I mean, like, it's not great to have to block this way, but I think it's like, it's just basically what we have to do. It's that, or we can just give like, we could have given Pummel and 2 cards and then thrown a Crippling Crush, which is probably what I should have done, honestly, as I'm thinking about it. With my life total advantage, I probably should have taken advantage of the fact that I had most of my equipment left, and I could have just given the red Pummel, which was not needed for this hand at all. Yeah, I think that was a misplay on my part. If I had taken a second and thought about it more, I would have come to a better decision point there. So this is cards 25 and 26. We're putting a Pummel and an Unmovable together, which is honestly like kind of funny, but also like very like techie. Like if you put Pummel and Unmovable together, in my opinion, it's very like skill oriented. Now, obviously my cards came up in a certain way, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm like this mastermind or something, but it's a huge help that I can put those cards together. Because having those cards together is, it gives you the chance to play offense or defense, whatever you need to do there. So, all right. So 7, go again. I'm going to block like this, because if Nick does have the Pummel here, then I can use my defense reaction in my arsenal to be able to bail me out. But if not, if he just throws the Hammer here, which is what he's more than likely going to do. So 25, 26 last turn. So I'm going to block here and here, and I'm gonna go to 6. We're still sitting on a Staunch Response in our arsenal, which is like super value for us. And then we're also putting cards 27 and 28 into our deck this turn. So continuing to set up our pitch stack here, 2 blues going along with... I'm going to be honest, I can't really remember what I pitched last turn. The Unmovable and the Pummel. So again, we have the chance to play offense here. We could go Buckling below Pummel, pitching our Unmovable and Cranial Crush second cycle, or we could pitch Buckling or pitch Cranial Crush to play the Unmovable and then come in with Hammer for 4. So we have quite a few options here. And taking every card from Nick's hand is pretty awesome. So he has 1 point on his equipment, like, which means us being able to dominate a Starstruck is probably just going to end the game here. I know that playing Rouse is very valuable, and like is like a super value play from here. But Nick can give us 2 cards and Crater Fist to block Rouse, and then give us 2 cards to block the Nothos here, and we wouldn't kill him. But there's like a probably like above 90% chance here that actually throwing a Dominated Starstruck is going to end the game, because even if he has a red unmovable here, it's only covering 8 and he takes 2. So good game, man.
Yeah. All right, let's play again.
Let's do it. You want to like sideboard differently or just quick rematch?
Quick rematch.
Okay. Here we go. It's actually working tonight. Alrighty then. So this is a pretty good start. Like, this is a pretty good opening here. I guess we're just looking at Crippling Crush here is probably just our best play. Like, Crippling Crush is probably... I could have gotten a Thunderquake and heaved it. Doesn't seem that good. So 2 cards into our deck. They're both blues. One's an 8, one's a 6. Starting off the game in a pretty solid fashion, I would say. Wait, what? That's just not accurate. I was like, Adel, get out of here with that malarkey. Woo, I'm a rebel just for kicks, yeah. Hopefully Nick's turn isn't too terrifying here. Him going second is pretty advantageous for him, in my opinion. Gives him the chance to like really dominate something first before we have that opportunity to, which means we're forced to use equipment first, which puts us in a bad spot. This is also a really good way for him to start his turn. So I actually think I'm just supposed to take 5 here, and then if he throws the hammer at me, we block 6. He could Command and Conquer me here, so I'm gonna hang on. Taking 5 is taking 5. I can take 2 here and then 3 from the hammer, but if he has a Command and Conquer, then me being able to block 6 is super powerful. So he didn't have it, but I think we made the correct play in playing around it there. So block there. Showtime into a good card. Surge Pops, Showtime. That's not exactly what I was thinking when I said that, but I'm not going to complain at all. That's a great card to Arsenal, and we just get to throw a Crippling Crush here. Just it's a naked Crippling Crush, but Crippling Crush pretty good. This is also cards 3 and 4 we're putting back into our deck. Gotta roll my back later. Okay, so Nick just decides to take 11 and discard cards.
I didn't mean to do that. My bad.
Oh, okay. I thought that was interesting.
Oh, it clicked for me.
Yeah, I've been there. So our first hand is all blues. We have an 8, a 6, another 6, and a Terra Sunder. So our first hand is just looking like a Terra Sunder hand on second cycle. Nice staunch. Dude, you kidding? That's exactly how I drew it up. That's all calculation right there. Was an insanely powerful draw off of the Showtime, dude. Insanely powerful.
Sorry.
No, you're good, man. You are good, brother. Nathaniel, what's going on, man? What you been up to, buddy? I haven't seen you in a while, man. Feel like I haven't seen you in forever, actually, dude. Feel like I never see you in Alexandria anymore. You fools ever gonna come play on a Friday night? Come hang out with your friends? Huh, Nick must have a defense reaction here? Do you want to block differently?
Yeah, I wasn't thinking of that.
I was like, the Zealous Bell thing only blocks for 2. I've been feeling this since 1966, yeah. All right. Okay. So Nick blocks 8, keeps a card, has a life lead, but we have a tempo lead, which is like pretty relevant. I mean, this hand is pretty solid. I think this is worth going to 31 for. Like, again, this is another tempo play. Think I'm gonna play this weekend? Oh, nice, dude. That's awesome. Let's go. I don't think I get to play Saturday, but I'm gonna play Friday for sure. At least I think, anyway. I'll be off work the rest of the month besides the 22nd to the 24th. The 22nd to the 24th. Okay, so that's like not this coming weekend, but the next weekend. So, but dude, you're off the rest of the month? Dude, how'd you swing that? Good lord. That's awesome. You taking PTO, or like did your whole schedule just work out that way or something crazy? Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks, yeah. And I've been feeling this since 1966, yeah. Nick blocks 9. I mean, we're going to play our pummel here. Gets the last card out of his hand, and we get to push through 3 points, so I'll take it. That was cards 5 and 6 we're putting back into our deck. This hand is just make a surge and throw Cranial Crush, and then what we're gonna do is we're going to go Cranial Crush and Rouse as cards 7 and 8. So that means we're gonna go Tear Asunder into a Rouse hand, and then we have the combo of Unmovable and Pummel in the same hand, which is kind of what I was talking about. I think last game I was speaking about that. So this isn't our best turn, but it's not bad. I took less than 40 hours of leave, and I'm getting 15 total days off. Oh, wow. Dude, that's awesome. That's great, dude. Happy to hear it. Oh, I saw something the other day on here. Enable streamer mode. Oh, it just opens up a box for you to, like, put your camera. Moves the chat down and everything. That's cool. I'm going to have to look at that after this. Look about setting that up. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that Talishar had enabled that. There was also one that said enable caster mode, which is really neat. And I've been feeling this since 1966, yeah. Cards 7 and 8 are going to be Rouse and Unmovable, and then our 9th card's going to be Pummel. So we're looking at putting Pummel in our next hand. And then it's like Nick took quite a bit of damage here, so I think he's going to try and have like a real tempo swing. So this is going to be Rouse into Hammer. So block 6. Take 1. I mean, I could have played my card from Arsenal here, but and maybe it's worth it in that situation, but that feels kind of like a lackluster time to use that. I don't know. Okay, so Nick's actually not going to throw the hammer at me. He's just going to make a surge and pass. Okay. Interesting. So we're just going to swing the hammer here because that's what our hand permits us to do. We're going to be putting cards 10 and 11 in our deck. So our third cycle hand is going to be Pummel, Macho Grande, Terra Sunder, which is not looking great. Now, this hand's pretty good. Pretty good. It's a shame that Nick has 5 cards, which is pretty terrifying. Is Nick about to hit me with 11? Wow. That's insane. Huh? What are you, huh? What you talking about, man? What you talking about, Willis? I don't want to click pass too many times. I did this the other day and it got me. Okay, so we're talking about blocking here. So I need to block all 11. Rouse? Did I say something about Rouse? Like, am I having a stroke? I don't remember mentioning Rouse. Or are you talking about when Nick played Rouse and then made a surge and passed? Is that like your question? Sitting on, like, waiting on that red staunch actually, like, gave me, like, a lot of value that turn. So I'm going to pitch to make a surge with Command and Conquer because it's going to pair it up with my... It's going to pair my Command and Conquer up with my Pummel that I just pitch stacked. That's going to be the 12th card. Or maybe that's the 13th card. Either way. I started talking to the chat and I forgot how many cards I pitched. Me being a forehead right there. I'm really hoping that Nick's turn is kind of lackluster here because we have a really solid hand. That does definitely interfere with our plan. So we'll just block 5 and then see what we draw into. And then even if Nick still decides to play the Pummel, we have a decent card to get rid of here. And if he does not, which Nick did not, we can make a surge, activate Bravo, and then throw Crippling Crush with Dominate, which is pretty valuable. Now, there's a decent chance that Nick has a defense reaction of some variety here based off how the game's been going. So this is cards 14 through 16. Again, I think. I would not bet the farm on that. I think I'm that's either 14 through 16 or I'm off by 1 card. Either way, I'm going to pair them all together. This might be an equipment turn, which is not good. I do not want to be giving up my equipment this early. I've already given up more equipment than Nick, which is not good for the long run of the game. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. Terra Sunder Hammer makes this an equipment turn. Actually, this is only for 5, which is kind of nice. So we can just block 5, and we still get to save our Crater Fist point here, which is nice. We like to save those extra points if we can. I'm going to make a surge, and we're going to come in with Zealous Belting here. Start the turn, get aggressive. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. Okay. Nick blocks that out, and then we're going to swing the hammer here for our 11-point turn. Nick blocking out our turn here, trying to keep a life total from getting... Trying to keep the life totals from getting too out of whack, it feels like. Hammer for 4. I'm going to take hammer for 4 here. I don't mind this. I still get to keep a 6-point life lead here. And then I get to throw my Starstruck, and then I get to arsenal my last card here that I have in my hand. having made a surge last turn off of our go again hand, we were able to benefit and throw a 7 cost card for just pitching 2 cards. Being able to make a seismic surge on demand is pretty good. It's pretty good. Okay, so Nick's going to give us 3 cards and take 1 here, which means it's either going to be an arsenal from him or he's going to be throwing the hammer at us. So we've played one and crowned one away. We played a pummel and crowned one away. I can't remember if I pitched one. I think it was last game that I did that, but I mean, this is an interesting hand. This is like super interesting. So I think that makes it a lot easier. We're just going to choose war, and we're just going to have a value turn here because we get to play Rouse, revealing 14 points. So this is 7 go again. And then from here, we're going to use our last 2 cards. We're going to use them efficiently here, using every card that we have in our reserve this turn to maximum potential. Again, our go again turn, getting all the cards out of Nick's hand, which is what we want to see. We're going to go Zealous, then Unmovable, then Spinal. So I can take 4, activate Bravo, make a surge. Actually, I can just go to 21 here. If I go to 21... Yeah, I like going to 21 here. So I have 2 options here. I can pitch my Starstruck to activate Bravo and then make a surge off pitching Cranial Crush and then throw Spinal Crush for 9. So we get a Spinal Crush with Dominate, which can be covered up if Nick has a defense reaction or if Nick gives us a card and Crater Fist and Tech Plating. We are on the same equipment level right now. Or I have the potential play of setting up a little bit and throwing Spinal Crush, make a surge, throw Spinal Crush, Arsenal Starstruck. I think I'm more on the line of dominating our Spinal Crush here just because I like to be able to stay off of an Arsenal knowing that there is still a Command and Conquer left in Nick's deck, and we also have not seen a pummel yet. He hasn't played one yet, so knowing that there is still Command and Conquer pummel available to him in his deck makes me want to stay away from arsenaling. Now, if Nick gives us 2 cards here, like if Nick was to say, give us 2 cards right here, and then throw a Command and Conquer at us, and we had Arsenal to Starstruck, we know that if our hand works out properly, we can just block with 2 cards and then throw the Starstruck for 10. So it would have been okay. But if Nick decides to block with a card, or block, like just take 9 and go to 8 and then try to throw Command and Conquer pummel, it puts me in a pretty awkward position over the course. Like it's a big tempo swing for him and gives me the potential to fall behind far enough to where I could lose. Just kind of what that does for him as a whole. Okay, so Nick blocks 5, which means Crush is active. So there's no go again happening. Awkward. This hand's not great. Sand's not great. I can block with Crippling Crush, throw or Chokeslam, and then Arsenal our last card here, kind of setting up to play a little defensively and trying to make a defensive tempo swing. Oh, you don't have go again. Do you want to swing the hammer or do something else, or did you want to make a surge?
I'm good. I'll make a search.
Okay. So now we get to pitch Crippling Crush to make a surge, and then we get to throw our Chokeslam for 8. Keeping value cards in our deck and continuing to put pressure on Nick without throwing the hammer. Anytime that I can put pressure on without throwing the hammer, I would call that a benefit. Woo, I'm a rebel just for kicks, yeah. I'm a villain. This is 1966, yeah. All right, so Nick takes 3, goes to 10. We're going to arsenal our last card. This seems like a good a time as any. So we have 2 options here. We can play our card from Arsenal, pitching 2 cards to cover this up completely, keep our 11-point life lead, throw hammer for 6. Or we have the ability to pitch 1 card and then dominate a Spinal Crush. I think it's better to cover this up completely and keep our life total here. That's a 16-point turn versus a 12-point turn. And honestly, in my opinion, Guardian matchup is all about finding points wherever you can. And 16 is more than 12. So I like to take the value where I can find it. Make a surge and then come in for 6. Playing Bravo is in a lot of ways similar to playing Oldhim, how you used to play Oldhim, in the concept that when I'm pitch stacking, I know that roughly when I have like 25 to 30 cards left in my deck is when I'll be finding my pitch stack. Now, the last 2 games that I've played, or the last 3 Bravo games that I've played, I've counted out every card, and I knew exactly when my pitch stack was going to come up. And this game, I did that for about 5 hands. And then I'm just like, I was talking to chat and just kind of like, horsing around a little bit. And I just ended up forgetting where my card count was. But knowing that I'm playing a Guardian gives me the capability to know that somewhere around 25 to 30 cards is where I'll find what I'm looking for. So block, disable, take 3, go to 18. And then we're going to take our 11-point turn. So this ends up being a 14-point turn, a 14-point 4-card turn, which is above, so 12 points is exactly on rate, 13 points is where you want to be, and 14 points is like the extra value that you really need out of the turn. Also, our hand lined up in a way to where we didn't have to block with a Fighting Spirit. We're able to keep it on our deck for a later game, for a later cycle blocking that might be more relevant if Nick flips the game and we start to lose some life here. Okay. Unmovable. So Nick covers this up, but it does get 2 cards out of his hand. And then we're going to throw hammer for 6 here. So we're dealing 0 damage to Nick this turn, but we are getting every single card out of his hand, which has a lot of value. Man. We're like so close to being able to do what we want to do. If this was a blue, or even if this was a red, I mean, if it was a red, it wouldn't really benefit us. So I guess what we're looking at doing, I could pitch Rouse CNC for disable here, Arsenal Staunch, or I could pitch Rouse, make a surge, come in with the Command and Conquer. Where do we get the deck links? If you type !deck in the chat, it'll give you a link to it. It gives you my February link that I use to actually play my games with. Good question, though. El Unicornio. I like that name. Unicornio. That's cool. I like that name. So I think, like, obviously we're talking out loud, so Nick knows we don't have the pummel here. But in this situation, I think we would get more value out of this hand to throw Command and Conquer and just stare at our opponent and make them think about whether we actually had it. Like in a live setting, I would make a surge, play Command and Conquer, and just stare into my opponent's soul, just to see if they blinked. Because sometimes, like with no equipment, Like at this point in the game, my opponent might be like, you know what, I gotta block 6 and just hope you don't have it. That's just where I'm at right now. Or my opponent might, be like, gosh, my arsenal's so good, I gotta hang on to this and give me all 4 of their cards. Who knows? So thank you. Yeah, you're welcome, man. Absolutely. I hope you enjoy the deck list. I'm having a pretty good time playing it tonight. So it feels like I've gotten into a nice little groove playing Bravo tonight. So Nick gives 6 cards and makes a surge. So if he has a Crippling Crush in his arsenal and 2 blues in his hand, it's actually like Value Town USA. And okay, so Nick doesn't have 2 blues, but depending on what he does here, we're just gonna block 3. This is not our first pitch stack hand. It was a choke slam. Choke slam should be the first thing we're looking for here. So I actually like just taking 1 here, going to 17, and then being able to throw a Macho Grande. Macho Grande when Nick has no equipment is pretty valuable. I could also dominate a disable, try to get Nick's arsenal here, but I think that 8 dominate is just, I just like throwing bigger points later in the game. Like, this is a life total race. I'm gonna go up to 37 cards and then down to 33, which means I'm currently up 7 cards on Nick. So I'm winning the card advantage race right now. Now I need to make sure that I continue to win the life total race. Now I'm up 7 points and I have 3 more points of, or I'm sorry, I have 4 more points of equipment I can block with, 3 at any one point during a turn. So I feel like I'm in the driver's seat of this game right now, but to make sure that we don't fall behind, I'm just going to continue to play clean and put pressure where I can. Okay, Nick's got an unmovable here. I think that's the second red unmovable. I can't remember. I'm scanning his graveyard real quick to see. Yeah, there's 1 blue unmovable in there. Let's just take our time and look a little bit slower. There's 1 red unmovable. Okay, so that's just the second red unmovable. Okay, so that means that there's... What'd you say?
So I think this deck runs 2 reds and 3 blues.
Oh, is this not my list that I had originally?
No.
Okay, gotcha. I was like, because I know my list was on 3. Whose list is that?
It's the guy from Nats top 4, I think.
Okay. Which Nats?
Our Nats, I think.
Oh, so you talking about the guy that came in 9th?
Yeah, maybe that's him.
Yeah, Alan. His name is Alan Lube. He actually does a lot of good videos. Like I really like his content. So, considering Nick has no equipment, I kind of want to take 3 and go for the Terra Sunder play here. I think the Terra Sunder play is where I need to be at. Like, I still have a 5-point life lead, and if Nick has a defense reaction here, he's gonna give it to me. Or we're at a point where Nick is gonna have to give me 2 cards. So, considering he didn't block, I'm going to say this is a defense reaction. Yep. And then probably another, like, Fate and or Sync from Arsenal. No, okay, just take 3. Okay, I won't complain about that. I'm curious to know what Nick has in Arsenal. It's been there for a few turns now. Might be a pummel. Could be a pummel. Nick could have tried to play the setup game and set up a pummel there. So this is our last hand of pitch stack, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I believe this is our last hand of pitch stack. and we're gonna block 2 and go for the Terra Sunder play again. Seems like our best play. You're gonna play on Thursday. I'm not playing or streaming on Thursday. Carly and I have moved. Our week's busy, and so we've moved some of our plans around. And normally Wednesday night is the night that Carly and I like hang out, like just the two of us, and kind of have like a date night. And we're having that on Thursday this week because of our plans got moved around. So no, I won't be playing Thursday at all. I'm playing tonight. And then I'm not playing tomorrow, and I'm not playing Thursday, and then I'll be at Joa's Friday night. As long as everything goes according to plan. We have some family coming into town, but I think we're hanging out with them on Saturday. So this might be a short streaming week for me, honestly. Like, it might be this, and then, like, maybe Sunday. I can't remember what's going on Sunday, or maybe there's nothing going on Sunday. All right, that was not the last pitch stack hand. This is the last pitch stack hand, maybe? Or this is the last hand before pitch stack? Why, are you trying to go to Sean's to play on Thursday, Nathaniel? Trying to go up there and pick on old Blake, take his money, take his lunch money?
He hasn't been going up there.
Blake hasn't?
No.
Interesting. Or him and Sean on the outs or something? I mean, not that if that's something that doesn't need to be disclosed on stream, then we can talk after or something, but
No, I don't know.
Okay. I was like, I'm not trying to like air people's dirty laundry on the internet, you know. That's
Yeah. I think it's a little bit of both.
Gotcha. Okay.
Him working and not having time to play.
I mean, that'll do it. I'm trying to make some spice for Friday. Ooh. Let's see. I'm curious to know what your spice is for Friday, my man. You got me on the edge of my seat over here. Keeping me buckled in, man. Buckled in. You get it? Also, what are those dots about? Were those dots about Blake working? Was that... Are we picking on Blake? Blake, we're picking on you if you watch this. Not that you're surprised. We pick on you all the time, but nothing we wouldn't do to your face. For everybody watching the stream who doesn't know like my personal friend group, Blake is a friend of ours that we give a hard time. Now some of it he definitely brings on himself by being a schmuck the way he is, but Blake's a good guy. He's just out there sometimes. Well, I'm still going to play it and push my last point through. Nick definitely saw through what I was trying to accomplish there. By me taking damage, Nick was able to realize that was what I was looking at. So Terra Sunder must have been the last card that I pitched, because this should definitely be this is the first card that I pitch stacked right here, this Chokeslam, I'm pretty sure. Or I'm pretty sure I went Macho Grande Chokeslam. Gonna be honest, at this point, I can't remember everything that I've pitch stacked and what I haven't. Nick Mihalis, I got Mad Spice for Saturday. Well, I hate I'm gonna have to miss that. I was like, dude, I'd like to see and hear about the spice. You'll have to fill me in about it. Is it like a new deck spice? Or is it like more Icelander spice? Like you just you throwing in some crazy stuff in Icelander? Like you just playing like, I don't know, snatches or something? Like really gonna throw me in for a loop? Nick not having any cards in Arsenal lets me know that the dominated Thunderquake is gonna give me the win there at the end of the game. So makes it feel pretty good. Pummel Lander, lol, Nathaniel. Look at you being a troll. Good lord. Oh, you want to play again, man, or are you out of here?
Yeah, I'm down to play again.
All right, let's do it. That'll be perfect. I can get one more game in, and then I will be calling it a night myself. All right, so here's an interesting question for the crowd. With Nick going second, do I want to play Warmonger's Diplomacy to stop a Bravo activation? Like, is that something that's worth? I'm gonna go for it and see what happens. Like, I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting. Putting ice attacks in Iyslander, Frostfang. I mean, dude, that's something that like people did for a while. I'm pretty sure. I don't think that's crazy at all. Ooh, Nick chose peace. Interesting. That's species spicy, as somebody I know would say. The OG Iyslander. So we're gonna come in with Zealous Belting here. I tried to play like Pummelander with like Frostfangs for a while. Frostfangs are like pay 2 or discard a card, right? I think that's what that one is. You can pummel Frostfang, just saying. See, Nathaniel gets it. Nathaniel knows what's up. He knows what's going on. Dude, Pummel's an Iyslander is so cool. Like, honestly, Pummel's just a cool card. But, like pummeling like those like random on-hit effects of like Frostfang or like, what's the other one? That I can't remember what it's called. Frostfang is the pay 2 or discard a card. There's another one I feel like that I can't remember off the top of my head what it's called. That's like an ice on hit attack. Maybe I'm thinking of the arrows like Chilling Ice Vein and like stuff like that, and I'm just like having a stroke. Okay, so Nick has a 5-card hand, which is moderately terrifying. Hopefully it's nothing like super impressive here. Easy going, easy going. Oh, I'm out of water. Sag. Was my last drop. Now I'm just a starving lad. Icy Encounter? That's what I'm thinking of. Icy Encounter's the other one, yeah. I can't talk. CNC is sweet in the list too. No one plays Lexi, so I get to skip on arcane damage. I mean, that's fair. Like, there's nobody that really plays Lexi in our area unless people are like trying to like sweat for a pro quest or something, you know, like I was like, you know, like there aren't that many people. Like, it's weird because like there are 3 people in our area who competitively play Lexi, but like nobody wants to show up. Nobody wants to be the guy showing up to play Lexi at like, you know, Saturday Armory. Like, you know what I mean? Two block shaft that Icy Encounter. That's funny. Okay, so this one we'll need to give a card for. I hate to give a Crippling Crush here, but I think that's what we're gonna do. I'm really gonna hope this isn't a pummel. Feels like it's gonna be a pummel, but Nick could have also just not had a better play here. My Spice is Fuseless Lexi. Get out, dude. You're a troll. Get out of here. Your Spice is Fuseless Lexi. You're such a jerk. Oh man. My Spice is the best thing in the metagame right now. That's what I'm gonna start saying. I'm just gonna start playing like the best deck in the format and saying, oh yeah, this is my Spice. My Spice is that you're playing a $30 Omei Dory deck and I'm playing Lexi. Oh god. Oh man, that's hilarious. Changing my Spice to Fuseless Lexi too. Well, good. Y'all gonna be tools together. How about that? Just gonna roll y'all on Friday. I mean, dude, I've been playing Fi on Friday, so like, bring it. You probably will, but I've been playing Fi. I've been trying to make Fi work in the metagame, hoping that I can just like make Fi work against Lexi, honestly. So if you're not trolling and you really do bring Fuse with Lexi, then I'd like to test into you and make sure. Really need the third cold foil this month? I mean, dude, that's how the game becomes worth. When you start winning all those like random promos on like, you know, on when you start winning all those like promos on Friday nights and Saturday nights, you know, dude, that's how it becomes worth, you know. I mean, those things are worth like normally those things are worth like $20 a piece, you know. So like if like, you know, like if people want them, you know, like people who like don't win, like me, for example, you just beat a bunch of me's, you win those cold foils, and then you sell them to me for like, you know, $20, and it's like, bang, you just made $15 playing in an armory, and like $20 is a pretty fair price for most of that stuff, you know. Like so like Searing Emberblade and like whatever Dromai's weapon is called, like all that stuff, when like Uprising was the thing, and like I won a lot of armories during that period of time. Like a lot of it was due to absence, and a lot of it was due to the fact that I was playing Fi and nobody else had figured out the mirror yet, or figured out like other decks at that time. Like Dromai was just like a crappy mystery at that point. Like I won like I think I won like 3 Ember Blades that month, and I'm pretty sure I just sold 2 of them like for like $20 a piece, and it was worth. Like, so I mean, dude, winning cold foils is where it's at, man. And yeah, Nathaniel, the ninja mirrors are kind of miserable. Like I mean, it is what it is. Okay, so Nick didn't have a defense reaction in Arsenal or in hand. If he had had a 0 for 4 in hand, he would have been able to give me equipment and the 0 for 4 defense reaction. So just kind of getting lucky there. We actually get to have a really cool turn if we just take 4 here and go to 32, which is not really something I thought I would be doing, but it is fun, honestly, to be able to do this, because 2, 4... So we have 6, 7, and I need 2, 4, 7. So I have exactly what I need, which is awesome. You love to see it. Hey, Billy, what's up, man? Almost made it to Masters before the season resets. Can't play more, sadly, due to work in the morning. Masters in what, buddy? Like, I feel like I should probably know like what you're talking about, but I don't for some reason. Like the last thing that I really remember there being a ranking system in that I played quite regularly, like, is like Rocket League. Like, and that's like, if you like, just don't play Rocket League. If you haven't, just spare yourself the toxic, miserable world that is the Rocket League community. It's like a miserable place to live. TFT for League of Legends. Oh, gotcha. Okay, dude. So I watched a YouTube video, and Billy, you'll get a kick out of this. I watched a YouTube video, I don't know, sometime in the last, like, I would say month or two, and the video was talking about the most toxic gaming communities, and League of Legends was number 1 or number 2. I think it was number 1, and Rust was number 2. So, again, my hand is not allowing me to play the cards that I want, so we're probably just going to throw... Considering both my cards block for 2, we're just going to throw the Cranial Crush here. We'll go to 28, throw our 8 power attack, and then Arsenal our last card here. Rocket League is so toxic, but so good. Same with Smash. Okay, so... Story time. When Smash Brothers... Like, I never played Smash, like, growing up at all. And so, like, the game, the learning curve for that game is, if you're not there now, just don't try. Like, just don't try ever, because, like, you're never going to catch up. And that was always that was just kind of, like, always, like, the world that I lived in. Like, I played for fun and hung out with, like, you know, some of the guys that played it. So when G2K was a place back in the day, I used to go to I played Magic at G2K for years, and I used to they on Thursday nights, I think it was Thursday, they started having a Smash tournament night. And I just like I went and played a couple of times just for fun, and dude, like I just got like destroyed, like rickrolled, like it was insane how much I was getting destroyed. And like I'm not a bad video game player. You just have to be like the sweaty fool who has no life to be good at that game. Like that's all you can play pretty much, I feel like. Yeah, it's not friendly. TFT, though, people are mostly chill. Okay, that's fair. Smash is hard. Dude, Smash is very hard. Smash is probably like one of the hardest video games I've ever played. Like, straight up. That and Rocket League is by like single-handedly the most skill-intensive video game I've ever played. Like, bar none. And I would fight people on that. Like, to the end of the world. I probably shouldn't just be continuing to take 4 here over and over and over again. If I block 3, make a surge, swing this, it represents... Yeah, no, that's good. So block there. Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, we'll do that and take 1 this way. Yo, I went to those almost every Thursday. Oh, did you really? Okay, so yeah, again, we knew each other before we actually knew each other. Like, I swear, Nathaniel, you're like my best friend that I never had. Like, I feel like when it comes to like hanging out in this area, dude. Like, we just like there's so many things that like we're just so similar, like in age and stuff like that. Played Ultimate every Thursday for like a year and never did better than like 1 or 2. Are you talking about like round 1 or 2? Like you never got out of like the first or second round? Is that what you mean? Because like, dude, like some of those guys were like so good, so sweaty. It's absurd, dude. I'm gonna go to 22 here to throw a Dominated Crippling Crush. Nick's probably sitting on a defense reaction of some variety, and I've been playing very sloppy the last few turns, like kind of just like talking to the chat and like, you know, not really like counting my pitch stack or like thinking about what I want to be doing every turn. And I've allowed Nick to make up some points here, so we're only up 10 points now. It's worth noting that if you do this kind of stuff in like real gameplay settings, it will punish you very badly. Ho ho! That's pretty cool. I haven't got to do this in a long time. 9, dominate, tear asunder, choke slam. Prank him, John. I normally only say that when I'm playing Fortnite. Okay. So he takes 2, discards his last 2 cards. Pretty good for me. I would either go 0-2 or 1-2. Beat the 3rd best player in Tennessee one time, though. Hey, man. That makes you better than the 3rd best player in Tennessee. Gotta be up there, man. Make a surge. Come in for 5, go again. We're just gonna take our value, go again turn here. Had a couple of pretty good turns back to back here, able to dominate a couple things, and now we got to go again turn. So I'm going to activate Bravo just so that I can throw, like I can get rid of all 3 of my cards here. I don't really want to keep any of my cards in my hand. The Bravo effect is irrelevant other than the fact that it gives me the ability to just clear my hand. We're going to go Debilitate, then Choke Slam, then Fighting Spirit for the sake of keeping my cards as good as I can. This is also going to be a very good hand. We get to reveal 2 cards here. Had Starstruck been a red here, this hand would have been pretty awkward. We wouldn't have been able to actually do anything we wanted to, or we wouldn't have been able to follow up after this. So Starstruck being a yellow, actually giving us the ability to throw both the rouse and the hammer here. Very beneficial. Not often I get to see a rainbow pitch in my pitch zone, so that's kind of cool. It's not the card I meant to click, but okay. Make a surge, activate Bravo. So this is a dominated chokeslam with potential of pummel, which is kind of convenient. But yeah, I ended up Diamond 2 with 56 LP. I really wanted it, LOL. That's the highest I've ever been, going to try and push for Master Zone next set. Dude, you should. That's awesome, man. I was like, getting to like that level of achievement is like worth it, you know? Like there's something very satisfying about pushing hard to get to where you want to be, you know? Like I get it. It's very rewarding, you know? Like it truly is, in my opinion, to like accomplish a goal. Just something rewarding about it. Okay, I think with Nick being at 1, this is the hand that's going to end the game. I was like, his hand is probably Surge Hammer for 6, but he had 2 reds, I'm assuming, considering that he just made a Surge and passed. So we have a Surge, so I'm okay to make a Surge, and then we're going to activate Bravo and come in with a Dominated Starstruck here. Nick would have to have a card from hand and an immovable here to be able to get out of this, and he doesn't, so we end up crossing the finish line there.
Good game.
Yeah, good game, man.
That was rough.
I got ahead pretty early there. Your hands were really awkward. You had like 2 Zealous Beltings in one hand and 2 Pummels in one hand. Like,
yeah,
your hands were really awkward that game. I don't really feel like that was... Like, I don't really feel like I played better than you. I just feel like you drew very poorly.
Yeah. All right, brother.
You getting out of here?
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thanks for playing. I appreciate it, boss.
Yep, no problem, man.
All right, see you, buddy. Oh, all right. Let's see. Yeah, my rank will completely reset. We'll have to learn all the new units and new items. Dude, it's the worst thing about starting a new season of something is like you got to learn everything all over again. I feel like I constantly do that with Fortnite when there's a new season update, which doesn't happen that regularly, I will say, but it does like mix things up a little bit. So I ended up going 6-1 tonight. We played 7 games. 6 of those were Bravo mirrors, which was wild. First match of the night was a Bravo mirror that I lost. I think me siding in the Fate for Scenes and Sync Belows put me in a bad spot, and I think it made my deck a little bit too clunky and awkward. And then the next 2 matches I played were against random people, where I was pitch stacking, I was counting my cards, I was really playing and like trying to like, you know, hammer down and like zone in on my play, and I ended up winning both of those games. The first one was pretty close, and then the second one I kind of ran away with. And I beat those Bravo matchups, and then I played against a... Right? Was I 5-1 or 6-1 right there? I was 6-1? I can't remember what my other... So I beat Nick 3 times. Last one because he had really bad draws, and then the other 2 times I feel like I was patient and tried to set up some better hands. And I got ahead on some equipment early. Got a little lucky at certain times, you know, like you just kind of have to get a little lucky at certain times. It's cards. And then lost to a Bravo, played a different match, beat 2 Bravos, beat Nick 3 times in a row. So that's my 6 wins. That's 5 of my 6 wins. And then I had a loss to Bravo. What was my other win to? What did I play against tonight? Azalea. I beat an Azalea early on in the stream. Yep, that's what it was. So overall, a pretty good night. Bravo still looks to be a very strong front runner for me as we move closer to ProQuest season. ProQuest season, you know, guys, is a month and a half away. So, you know, if you're thinking about, you know, getting into the grind or thinking about what you should play, you should start figuring that stuff out now. You're gonna blink and ProQuest season's gonna be here. Trust me. So that's why I'm starting to get on that grind now. Got a couple new subs on YouTube tonight. That was pretty exciting. And got a couple new follows on Kick. That was also pretty exciting. I appreciate everybody hanging out. It means a lot that y'all were hanging out with me to keep me company tonight. Appreciate you guys being in the chat, just hanging out. You know, there's like, you know, the people that come by and hang out are awesome. You know, you got people from all over the world that come into the chat and hang out for a little bit. And, you know, it means a lot, and I really appreciate it. I won't be back Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, and I probably won't be back Saturday. I don't know what's going on with Sunday yet. I might be back on Sunday. So just kind of waiting to see what's going on. Kind of a short streaming week, but I got a video going up tomorrow. Be sure to check that out on my YouTube, going up at 3:00 tomorrow. And also I have my first members only video going up on Friday afternoon around 1:00. I wanted to make some members only content because, I really appreciate people who are members of the channel. And I don't really like to restrict content from other people, but I also think that if you want to be a member of the channel and you want to go above and beyond to support my, my channel, my content, that, you deserve something a little different, a little special. So made my first members only video. It's going up on Friday and it's a good one. It's a really good video. I'm pretty excited for it. It's going to be a good one. So if you guys are thinking about becoming a member and you're on the fence, you guys really want to check that out because it'll be worth watching. So anyway, thanks for hanging out. I'll see you guys this weekend. Have a good week, guys.